nation that actively wants to harm black people and non-Jewish people. But let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
Selling black people in Africa.
That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling their own people. Black people still sell their own people today too. By the way, I don't know if I'm gonna last. We're selling our own people today too. I don't know if I'm gonna last. You probably won't last with me.
I won't, because your ignorance is so overwhelming.
See, that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all getting defeated in an argument.
You won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine if they don't let me come back up. I made my point.
You didn't make your point.
I made my point.
You haven't made your point. And let me just tell you about your point. You started off saying,
I think he made a great point, to be honest with you.
We believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being
What are you doing? Are you muted, Sitch? Maybe turn your mic on.
The watch together is completely broken for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You didn't see any of that?
Nope. I don't know why.
We believe in hard work.
Yeah. Okay.
And we believe in...
That's still not... I don't... Okay.
Did you refresh?
Anyway. I've refreshed 20 times. It's not working.
He was making the point that black people sell other black people into slavery. And it super triggered her.
Well, that is true. And it's something, I guess, that has to be an account for when you have these people have these conversations about reparations and things of that nature.
Sure. White people sold other white people into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery was the norm for a lot of years, for a long, long time. Until people got rid of it. I think the English were mostly responsible for it. So, hey, everybody, what's up? It's Tuesday. We're going to talk about this Jubilee video. It is catching the internet on fire. Can the internet catch on fire? Probably.
Of course.
Not. Parts of the internet can, right?
It goes viral, okay, like a delicious COVID strain.
There it is. It's the new pandemic, the Jubilee video.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching it in second intervals because Jubilee is so thirsty to strike your channel with a copyright strike. So, but I broke up the video a little bit. Hopefully that'll help.
Okay, okay. I don't know why the watch together is not working. I'm going to have to use a completely different browser or something.
You want to just do a new watch together or something?
I don't know if it's I don't think it's your watch together. I think just watch together is just not working for me.
Watch together was beautiful. Worked beautifully for me for the whole cold open.
Well, that's good.
That was a cold open, guys. That means we play the clip before the stream begins. Sometimes this confuses people, but people, I think, have gotten used to it.
Okay, hold on a second.
So, Sitch, how was your day off?
It was fantastic.
Oh, that's good.
It was wonderful.
Sweet.
Okay. I think I got it. So I'm going to be in a gibberish name here instead of Sitch.
That's okay.
There we go. So it's Chrome. Chrome was the culprit. I don't know why.
I never use Chrome.
Google Chrome is...
I always use Tor.
Reparations is not, though.
Okay, so you got to
Okay, anyway. Okay, so let's start. If you want to... I got time codes here. I got some time codes here.
I got some time codes, too. I had my assistant develop...
I know you had your
time codes for the 10 most incendiary moments in the debate. So, but let's go to one of yours.
Well, I just want to play this in the beginning. This is kind of interesting here.
This is who? Do you know anything about Amanda Seales?
No, is she some famous person? I don't think I've ever heard of her before.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little background check on her here.
It says she's an American actress.
Black culture is toxic. Hey, let's
wait, what happened?
I don't know.
I don't know what. Oh God.
You backed it up.
Yeah, but it went all the way to the beginning.
Okay. Where you put? Go ahead.
There's no incentive.
To be quite honest, you're not talking to a Democrat. You're talking to a radical.
Okay, but let's
land this plane very quickly.
Who do we vote for?
Let's land this plane quickly. You're talking to a radical, not a Democrat.
Okay, and you are your own person.
Oh, that guy's a YouTuber. That's Anthony. What's his name? Anthony. I see that guy on YouTube all the time.
I'm unfamiliar, but it's very interesting because there's multiple times in this conversation where they keep calling her like a Democrat or a liberal, and she's so like triggered. She's like, "Stop! I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm a radical."
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's so important. I think the left has done themselves such a massive disservice by allowing the mainstream left basically allowed themselves to be defined by these radical, crazy people who don't even themselves define themselves as Democrats or liberals, who don't even like Democrats or liberals. They hate Democrats and liberals.
Yeah, they want to be known as radicals. According to Wikipedia, she's listed as an actress, comedian, poet, media personality, activist, podcaster, and author. So,
okay.
Comedy career. This must be part of her comedy career.
Of 1882, we prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled?
Look at that face. Look at the face she's making. Oh my God.
Yeah, she hates us. How dare you question me?
Consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other according to the FBI.
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. Yeah. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in.
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe?
Are you acting? Is this like a meme? Just come up as a
She's
meme?
an actress, so she would know.
First of all, please applaud my pause game. Okay. I got the mid-sneeze look going on here.
Oh, you did. It's beautiful.
It's funny. I was watching some of this with Sam, and this is what's so annoying. I need to hide a microphone in our place that records everything because we have these like hour-long conversations that are very good content. And then afterwards, I'm like, why didn't I just upload this for content?
You should message Destiny about this. Secretly recording people is his forte. So
exactly, he's probably really good at it. That's true. He'll tell me where to hide the cameras. But this is the problem. And I hate to say it, I do agree conceptually with her that I don't think it's a good comparison to compare Chinese people who suffered under the Chinese Exclusion Act to compare that to blacks that suffered under slavery and then Jim Crow laws in the South and all these other things. Like the experiences of these two populations were very, very, very different. So it doesn't make sense to be like, oh, well, because, one group did good, the other group can do good. I don't think that's a good argument. However, I agree with this guy's overall position or his point that it is, if you are going to pull yourself out of the hole, even if there are people that are keeping you down, even if there's a system keeping you down, until the people have an idea that they can actually progress in society, that it's worthwhile to progress, that it's good to progress, that it's good to be pro-social, that it's good to get education and get a job and, play by the rules and all those things, until that's the prevalent attitude or the prevalent cultural meme or norm, it doesn't matter how much help the system gives you or the government gives you, because then people will just throw it away or they'll waste it or abuse it or whatever.
Yeah, you're kneecapping yourself. There could be a ton of opportunity out there, and if you're telling yourself there's none, you're not ever going to look for it. You're never going to find it.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if you find it, you're not going to trust it. Or part of the issue is like, and this comes up a lot in the CRT conversations, part of why I hate CRT so much. In the CRT textbook itself, they talk about how, or one of the biggest CRT textbooks, they talk about this concept of how a lot of people in the CRT community, if you go to college and you get a job, and they hypothetically give this example of like a black guy who goes to law school and gets a job as a lawyer, and he's not focusing on like helping black people through discrimination law. He's just doing normal law stuff. They're like, oh, a lot of people in the CRT community will consider that selling out your blackness to white people. And it's like, okay, if you have a cultural meme that going to school, getting education, and getting a normal job is selling out your identity, then obviously you're going to create a cultural meme that makes success almost impossible at that point.
Yeah, you're segregating culture for no apparent reason.
It's like if you're American and you move to Japan and you have children and you tell your children, listen, I know in Japan there's a very different culture than America. Like in America, people are very loud and brash and they can be very rude compared to Japanese standards. Like if you're in America, not so much, but if in Japan, you'd be considered very rude. And there's always like just different ways that you're supposed to act and everything. If you move to Japan, you have a child there and you tell them, listen, you should try to act as American as possible. Don't assimilate into Japanese culture. Don't try to do the things that Japanese people do to succeed in Japanese culture because Japanese people are racist, which they are to some extent. If you tell your child all this stuff and then they act that way, and surprise, surprise, the broader Japanese culture doesn't accept them and they don't succeed, then whose fault is it at that point?
It's the culture's fault for not accepting you for who you are.
It's like, okay, that's the problem. And that's
everyone else's fault.
But see, that's what's frustrating about this entire conversation with this woman. I mean, besides the fact that she's very annoying and horrible, is there are points that are true about systemic discrimination in the past, causing a lot of problems for Black people in America, creating a lot of negative cultural attitudes for Black people in America. That's all true. But it doesn't matter if there's not a change, which I think can only happen from within. If there's not a change, a positive social norm, a positive meme towards being a productive American, but in believing that you can succeed in America and that everything is not a trick or a trap and that you're not selling out some aspect of your identity by assimilating to the mainstream culture or the majority culture. Until that happens, there will be no widespread positive change, no matter how much aid or money or whatever you give to a specific community.
It's just so weird to me that so many people see skin color as relevant to culture, because it's just white Europeans have a bunch of different cultures. Obviously, blacks around the world have a bunch of different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that the behavior of white people is white culture, or the behavior of Black people is Black culture, just doesn't seem like there's any universal that
it shouldn't be
relates to skin color.
No, you're completely correct, because it shouldn't be that way. And the problem is all humans are very lazy, and our brains want to just categorize these things in very quick terms. And so people just kind of, our brains automatically want to break things down into these very simple white black terms, when that's not really the case, or shouldn't be the case of how we conceptualize this.
Yeah, if you're a minority race and your numbers are small compared to the dominant race in the area, I can see why you would clump together in a single culture, why you would try to do that to bolster your numbers against some other possibly perceived threat.
True. And then also, humans, we have a tendency to judge ourselves by opposites. So if there's if there's like a view of like an outside group or something, it makes it more easy for us to define ourselves in opposition to the other group. I mean, you see this all the time in politics, where some people on the left or the right will choose a position politically based on what the other side is taking. If one side is taking that position, I have to take the opposite side.
It's interesting in this exchange, her with 20 different Black conservatives, you would think the person on the left is the anti-racist person, but she really is the one that's enforcing the racism, the race. She perceives it as wrong for these other Black Americans to adopt a culture which she perceives as white culture, right? So she's trying to keep them in the Black culture, which I just think inherently is racist. And all of these people are saying there's nothing wrong with white people. There's nothing wrong with American culture. It's not really white culture. It's American culture. A lot of times, when you read the CRT text, what they're really talking about is business professional culture as white culture. So these young Black Americans, they want to join business professional culture without having a chip on their shoulder, which is probably good for them. And this woman here, the bona fide lefty, right? I'm not a lefty, I'm a radical.
Right. Right.
Is it really radical to say you have to be insular, you have to stay within your community, you got to stay within your lane?
It
is that the radical position? It seems more like the conservative position.
Like the hyper-traditional position. That's true.
So it's just the irony here is just off the charts, totally off the charts. They're saying, look, we want to blend in with the dominant culture. We want to succeed in that dominant culture. And she's like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah. No, and it's a good point. They bring up that, really it's you have to conceptualize it as American culture. And then even then there's going to be a regional American culture that differs on where in the country you are.
South, and it's California. Yeah, it's so different.
Right. And it's stupid, even though unfortunately it's like gonna have to come up in part of the conversation because of how she conceptualizes it. But stupid to think of it as like, quote, white culture, because Canadian culture is different than American culture, British culture is different, German culture, French culture. All these white countries have different cultural attitudes about things than America. And this was like a very predominant meme, growing up my entire life. Like, oh, you have the obnoxious American goes to like England or France or whatever, and they act very American, and all the other Europeans are like, oh, we're tired of these Americans. They're so uncouth.
Loud on his cell phone.
Yeah, they're so loud and uncouth and slobbish and all these other things.
Yeah.
Telling the truth, there's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other. But they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men.
She has this look on her face like, what are you talking about? White people are evil.
Well, it's always interesting to me the way people present themselves, where, she made this decision to wear this super loud, like obnoxious jacket, which I can't really even figure out what the fuck's going on in the jacket. It almost looks like she's wearing panels of a JoJo comic or JoJo anime.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
that's how I perceive it. And what does that say to you? She's wearing the problem glasses. She's got the red lipstick. It's always interesting to me how specific ideologies or cultural attitudes manifest in terms of like, you're supposed to look a certain way aesthetically, you're supposed to dress a certain way, and to see people just fall into that. I mean, personally, to me, I always view that as NPC behavior. But I understand there's probably some importance to social signaling to those groups to say, look, I'm like you. I'm, trust me, I'm on your side. Look at how I'm dressed.
Yeah, you got to tell them.
Yeah.
How are you going to get hired at your nonprofit activist job if you don't wear those problem glasses?
But then it also social signals to everyone else like, oh, this is my politics. This is my attitude. Like you would see someone dress this way, and you'd be like, you could guess, oh, this is someone who's on the far left. They're going to be loud. They're going to be obnoxious, blah, 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 blah. Why not fuck with people a little bit? Why not show up looking in like a nice, business casual attire or something? Just to me, I think that'd be more funny to do that. Like just kind of like screw people's heads a little bit. It would kind of give more legitimacy to persuading people. Because no one on the right is going to look at this person and be persuaded by anything they say just purely based on their aesthetics, which I wish that wasn't the way it is, but that is the way it is.
Does this live up to my hypothesis that all far leftists are condescending pieces of shit?
Well, this woman's very condescending, yes.
Oh, okay.
Incredibly condescending.
Okay, look. She fits the mold.
Well, that's what's interesting, too, is, well, I guess you have to question... Because if you're going to this situation where you're like one radical versus 20 conservatives, if your goal is to try to be persuasive to those people, obviously she, being hyper condescending, being very loud the way that she's doing, like that's not going to do jack shit. It's just going to make you look like an asshole to them. And I'd say to probably most of Jubilee's audience. So maybe it's just from her perspective, either she's not thinking about that, or, I mean, she doesn't care. She's acting emotionally. Or it's just, I need to signal to my side that I'm like a good fighter. Because I'm sure all people on her side are like, yeah, man, you kicked ass. You did great.
That's exactly what's going on. They want her to be a condescending piece of shit because they the people on her side perceive conservatives as evil racists.
Right. But these are black conservatives.
Slapping down the Uncle Toms. That's what they're all thinking.
Race traders.
Yes, exactly. Which is just it baffles the mind, because that is so conservative. Isn't that like the 1950s conservative? Stay in your lane. No mixing races.
Well, and I've said this, and I think it's very strange. A lot of, and I know you're not a fan of this. It goes back to the inside outside.
I knew you were going to bring it up. No,
I knew you do, because you walked right into it. Okay,
no,
you walked right into it. Okay, because a lot of people on the far left who consider themselves radicals, who are not white, that I think that's only because they're in the minority, because they're a minority group that looks at it totally from this, everything within my racial or ethnic community is good, everything that's outside of it is bad, which is they have like the reverse frame of the inside outside, or they have the inside outside frame too. They just don't consider themselves on the right because they're not part of the majority culture.
You're saying that they're coping with being conservatives inside a largely progressive group?
I'm saying that if the right views the world as inside good, outside bad, and the left views it as outside good, inside bad, or they have a tendency towards it, because obviously there's differences. They have a tendency towards that. If you're not part of the majority culture, it would make sense that even if you're on the right, you would still align yourself with on the left, because the left would be sympathetic to your views, because they view you as the outside culture, even though you view yourself as the inside culture.
Right.
Because you're part of the minority.
Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay. So
what is that? Did they cut something out? What happened? Why did she say that? What does that even mean?
That's so condescending.
I mean, because there was a cut there, if you see.
When black men are more likely to kill me.
Oh my God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mom.
See, there's a cut
right,
there.
You're right.
I don't know if what did he call her, like the fucking N-word or something? What happened?
He said, "Fuck you, bitch."
Because there's nothing he said. There's nothing he said there that I don't see would have been perceived as like disrespectful.
He's smiling like he just fucking nailed her. He just nailed her to the wall.
She did the finger,
oh yeah,
we call that
the claw,
the chicken mouth, the claw mouth, the little peck. Don't ever do the peck, ladies. No one likes the peck. That's a surefire way to get men to instantly dismiss you or become defensive when you're doing the peck maneuver.
You got her good.
Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay. So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that Black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism, and we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate Black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really existed at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist, and stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer.
He's like, I live in a white neighborhood. I live in an all-white neighborhood. Redlining never affected me.
He says at the end of this, it's kind of funny, because both his parents are immigrants. And one of her parents is an immigrant, and he says he grew up in Maine. And she's like, well, how many Black people live in Maine? He's like, well, not that many, but I lived in like a Black community in Maine. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Exists. Redlining absolutely exists. It is not something that's being made up. It's an empirical fact, and there are realities that exist because of redlining. We know that school systems are related to the way that property taxes are affecting the school systems. If a school system is not getting the same property value as the property taxes allow it, then it's not going to have the same efficacy at allowing for students to be able to get what they deserve. When we talk about systemic racism, we have to acknowledge that these private prisons are literally built built based on the test scores of school students in 3rd grade. So if you are literally building prisons with the onset of, okay,
what the fuck? She's jumping all over the place.
What does that even mean? Prisons. I have to ask. Yeah. I have to ask the AI this.
They go. Yeah, what they do is they go to the grade schools. Grades? They go to the 3rd grade class, and if there's more than 5 black people in there, they start building a private prison, like real close, because they're like, well, oh my god.
I've heard of we've all heard of the school to prison pipeline idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my understanding of that idea, whenever I've heard other people talk about it, was, the schools are bad, and they're bad because they're underfunded, and they're underfunded because of, the people are racist or whatever, some sort of systemic racist reason. And that causes people to get bad grades, which means they can't get into college, which means that they're going to end up going to prison because they have no alternatives. Like, I've heard this argument before. I've never heard the argument that they intentionally look at schools that have bad grades and are like, okay, we're going to put a prison right there because we're going to make a bunch of money because this is where all like the bad grades kids are at the moment.
Yeah. She's not articulating it very well, if that's what she just jumped to the private prisons from the redlining. I guess she's trying to throw in the 20 different things that are examples of systemic racism.
You get this effect a lot with, it's interesting because I feel like you get this effect too a lot when you argue with like the America bad people, where you ask them to substantiate their point and they throw out like 20 different things that are kind of not related whatsoever, except tangentially. And it's like, look, I have these 20 different things. So therefore, if I smush them all together, that shows the truth of why I'm right.
I want some way to prove this hunch that I have, that it is the radical left that's causing the increased prison population in the black community. That the radical left says society is completely unfair, society is against you, and you cannot succeed with that kind of racial discrimination. People believe that, and then they turn to a life of crime because the system is unfair and they have a real fuck you attitude, kind of like my fuck you attitude, right? Like if I'm in a losing situation, I think burning the whole thing down and breaking the rules is the right course of action. That is the intelligent thing to do, right? So they adopt this attitude and then they end up getting caught, getting incarcerated, getting thrown in prison. But really the start of the chain is the leftist idea. And if they just spread the idea that society's fair and you can get ahead if you work hard, I wonder if that prison population would just start going down. You'd still obviously have people who are incarcerated because they have a fuck you attitude. They just they're rule breakers. They're rule breakers by nature. They don't have this extra component of life is unfair. So they don't have an excuse, right? They don't have a ready excuse that society's against them. So
right.
You take away the excuse and then the prison population goes down. But someone needs to study this. Someone needs to interview, do surveys of prison populations, something like that.
My intuition would agree with your intuition.
Yeah, that's totally correct, right?
Obviously. Yes, that I would be curious because I know that a lot of people would always point to, they say that economic statistics and crime statistics, would get worse in a lot of black communities after a lot of civil rights legislation passed. And they try to point the finger that that's because they have more rights, which doesn't really make any sense from a logical position. What would make more sense, though, is you say, okay, well, at the same time period that all stuff was going on, that's where you had this kind of explosion of leftist socialism, radicalism that was exploding in a lot of the black population. And so, yeah, it would be interesting to do a study or analysis to see, how pervasive these ideas became in black communities. When did they become, when did they spread? Did they spread around this time period? Can you map out like the more common these ideas are? Does it connect to, people being more poor? Does it connect to people being more likely to be incarcerated? Because I would assume it would.
Yeah, I would too.
But the problem is you'd have to, the problem is that like 90%, 95% of all these sociologists that would study this stuff are all hardcore lefties. So they would never study this. You need somebody like the one right-wing sociologist to really dig in here.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to touch this. God forbid they find out that they're correct, right? And
yeah.
And it actually is leftist politics that are destroying the black community.
Mm-hmm.
These people are not reaching a certain reading level, then we know that they're going to go down a prison industrial pipeline where we can use.
Why learn to read if you're never going to get a job in an office? That's fucking stupid. That is stupid. You should learn to steal cars. You should learn to carjack people. You don't need to read.
Mm-hmm.
If society is unfair, learning to read is stupid.
Their free labor, then how is that not systemic? And if you want to
stop them from entering prisons,
how are you going to stop people from entering prisons if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very, very simple.
So how does King Von happen?
She said that their goal is to get. So she believes in this conspiracy. And again, how are you supposed to succeed in a society if you believe and advocate and teach children that there is a conspiracy by the majority in the country and the government to put you
to
into
incarcerate
prison.
you for nothing, for no reason.
Right.
Well, look, if they're going to incarcerate me for no reason, I might as well rob some banks along the way. Why not have some fun, right?
Right.
Von happen.
King Von
reparations.
Hold on,
actually, no. Let me land the plane.
Yeah.
We're talking about reparations, and what you're doing is actually just trying to get this conversation off the facts. And the fact is, reparations are just and necessary because, on a basic level, black people built this country, and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that black people put into this country. And it would behoove you, young man.
God, I hate it when they say that. I hate it just because it's completely factually incorrect. The South lost the Civil War. They lost the Civil War because they were a fucking economic mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slavery is not a good way to run an economy. People work harder when they work. When free people work for themselves on their own projects, they work 10 times as hard. So the idea that the people were cracking the whip and the slaves were building America, no, they weren't. They were like, fuck you and that whip. I'm going to work very slowly.
Yeah, they're going to work shittier and then also
break my tools again today. Uh-oh.
Right. But then also capitalism needs customers and slaves aren't really good customers.
Yes,
obviously.
another great point. Yeah, exactly. Fashion built America. Women's willingness to spend on frivolous shit built America.
Women's evolved desire to pick berries built America.
Yeah, exactly. So look, and I get it. I mean, I'm conflicted because I understand it comes from a place of wanting to say we had a big part. We were a big part of American culture,
mm-hmm.
But it's not true. It's just not true.
Well, I have a clip. We'll get to it. She's very anti-capitalist. Shock. She's socialist. Shock. So
yeah,
this idea that all capitalism is all about enslaving people.
Capitalism,
blah, blah, blah.
It's so God. The contradictions. Capitalism is a force that takes people out of poverty and illustrates the problems of slavery. It's interesting because obviously she sees capitalism as the same as slavery, just a different kind of slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wage slavery.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I would much rather be free to pursue my own projects than wake up and have to pursue master's projects, right? I mean, that doesn't sound good. Even if it is, even with the difficulties of capitalism, right? Obviously, it's difficult to start a business. It's difficult to buy a home. It's difficult to get a good job and an education and stuff like that. It's not easy. You have to work against a lot of different forces.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a whole lot better than, you don't even get to pick what you want to pursue. You're going to get up and do what your owner wants you to do. You're going to pursue their projects. This is what, look, of course you're going to get up and break your tools every morning. Of course you're going to get up and work as slow as humanly possible.
To really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one
No,
point that I wanted to
answer
say?
Can you imagine her working hard as a slave? I mean, if she just thought about it. For
Now
10
that's
seconds,
a clip to be taken out of context.
Yeah, don't clip me, guys. I'm just saying. Look, if she was a slave,
imagine she was a slave.
If she was a slave, look, I fully admit, if I'm a slave, I'm working as little as humanly possible. Most people in jobs work as little as humanly possible, right? They do it, put in as little effort as possible to get the paycheck.
Right,
so
right.
it seems like a product of human nature. But right now, right at this moment, she is arguing that all of those slaves got up early in the morning with their blood, sweat, and tears. They put their back into it. They're like, we're building America here. That's what she's arguing.
Right.
I mean, just think about it. Think about it for 10 seconds, okay? You think she's gonna get up and work hard for her wage?
No, I know. No, most people are not.
Her wage master.
That's why they have to have a guy with a whip beating people to force them to, obviously.
Exactly. And I even the whip cracker is going to come along, and she's not going to work. She's going to be like, "Fuck you, cracker."
Ben Carson's cousins were killed at a very young age.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority. Okay. Please return to your seat.
That guy was cool. Why are they voting him out?
Listen, well, on all these panels, it's like everyone just wants their chance to run up and yell at them. So, but listen to what she says afterwards. I think it's here.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. We in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting.
What a bitch.
She's so obnoxious. Oh my God. It's terrible.
Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is a coin from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, you got it.
Of course, she's with the Palestinian cause, right? Of course.
What is it? I mean, what is it? You could interpret. What does that even mean? He says, "I have a coin from Israel." Like that could mean anything. This guy could be a black Hebrew nationalist for all you know. Right? He could be like, "Blacks are the true Jews." Who the fuck knows? Why would you make all these assumptions? Like you could just maybe you just like the history of it.
She's like, Israel. Oh, Lordy Lord.
You know what? That's what Jubilee should do. Okay. I want to see 5 black socialist radicals argue against 5 Hebrew nationalists, and they have to dress up in the full garb, when they wear like the medieval costume outfits with the plastic swords and everything. That is the Jubilee I want to see.
Okay. Do it up. Write them a letter.
Nope.
That's a choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes. The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
I am 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, it's the liberal position.
I think socialist positions are pretty stressful too. If you believe the entire world's out to get you, the entire country's out to get you.
Of course, yeah, it's super stressful. She's majorly coping. She knows she's stressed all the time. She probably was on election night contemplating moving to Canada. So, of course, she's stressed. The one good thing to come out of all this current dialogue is maybe conservatives will figure out the difference between liberals and progressives. Maybe they'll stop.
They will not.
They'll stop with the fucking liberal shit. Oh my God, it's a liberal. They're liberal.
They will 100% not ever come out. That will never be known.
Conservatives today care more about individual rights than they ever have, which means they're more liberal than they ever have been.
Well, some of them. There's a lot of weird, like, national conservatives and all this other weird shit. I mean, look at, what was it, that thing where, Trump wants to pass some executive order to get rid of mail-in voting. And in it,
Great idea.
And in it, he said something very weird. He said, I don't know the exact wording, of something like, the states have to listen to the federal government, and the president is like the embodiment of the federal government or something.
Did he really say that?
Let me see if I can. Let me get the exact quote here. I was like, holy shit! Like, I can't imagine the right of the last 20 years putting up with this. Is totally crazy. Like, thing to say specifically.
Yeah, you saw the thing I shared on Twitter about Lutnick embracing one of Econoboy's policies. Econoboy, the internet socialist that we just debated, who wanted the government to start buying stock in companies. Lutnick wants the government to buy stock, specifically in Intel. They're talking about a 15% stake.
That's what's crazy. He doesn't even want the government to buy stock. Isn't he saying that the company should have to give stock to the government?
Yes, yeah.
It's it's very interesting because it is so against everything the Republican Party has stood for my entire life.
How's that small government?
Yeah, my entire life it was Republicans were small government. You need to let businesses thrive outside of government overreach. Government always trying to stick their greasy little hands into everything. And then, you have both it for Intel and for NVIDIA have to bribe our own government in order to do business, which is very strange. But okay, he says, Trump said, remember the states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting and tabulating the votes. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them for the good of our country to do.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's very weird. It's very interesting how these things change. So.
Because conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got, not asking for handouts from people who never had slaves. Some of the people that you're asking to.
This is really important because I think this is how it makes this one of our disagreements. I think people vote on a general vibe and not a policy. There's been so many people I've talked to on the left and the right who they just have a general sense of what it means. And I've talked to so many people on the right that just have this general sense. And it's true to some extent of, the right supports you working hard and you pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps and not asking for handout and all this other stuff. And the left just wants to give everyone handouts. Like that, I think, is a vibe that the majority of people on the right believe is the case. And so to some extent it is the case. And that's why they vote for Republicans generally.
Okay, but those can be framed as policy prescriptions, obviously.
No, well, they're not policy prescriptions per se. I'd say it's more of a general attitude of what the principle is, like what each side represents on a general principle.
Yeah, but obviously that's where the policy prescriptions come from. This is why conservatives are in favor of tax cuts, because they want you to keep more of the stuff that you've worked hard for, and progressives are more in favor of social programs because they want to care for the downtrodden and oppressed.
No, that is true, but I would say that the policies are secondary, that they come out of the intuition. They come out of the principle or the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
President, just in case you didn't know, we had a black president and we had a black vice president. I think she was black. They said she was black. I
don't know. Oh my God.
Big laugh.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Everyone's like, she's not black. They even play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have this liberal mindset are infecting our communities.
This is great. Everyone is on board with this in the audience of contestants, I guess you call them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just rolling her eyes. She's completely rolling her eyes at this. What are you talking about? This bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Black black people and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for.
Oh my God, she's so triggered. She's so triggered. Let me tell you, boy, you are a victim. You're totally a victim. Here
Well,
she
and
comes
this
with
is-
her victim narrative.
Yeah, and it's true, and this is sort of why I'm so against the alt left worldview, is that it's 100% the weaponization of the victim mentality.
It is,
And
yeah.
It's the weaponization of racial identity, gender identity, and victim mentality. And if you pick that up as a weapon, everyone, that's why the culture changed from people were embarrassed to say that they had a mental condition or sickness to everyone wants to tell everyone they have a mental condition or a sickness in order to become a victim. You have to bend over backwards to me because I have some problem.
Yeah. It's all about guilt mining.
Yes, that's a great term, guilt mining. The guilt mining must end.
That's so true. Yeah, we got to stop the guilt mining. Sometimes I conceptualize culture as just different emotions being prominent. And the guilt has to be prominent in the environment for people to mine it, right? Obviously, there was a time when people would say, I have some kind of mental illness, and people wouldn't feel guilty at all. They'd be like, oh, well, you're fucking weird or something,
right.
So there really wasn't any guilt to be mined. So people would be like, okay, I'll just keep this to myself. But now that everyone's like, oh my God, I feel so bad for you. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting a little attention here.
Exactly.
This is good.
Exactly.
So it's just that white guilt. And you can see all over her face. She's like, oh man, there's all this white guilt out there to mine. And here you are tossing your shovel aside. Come on. Like, get in there with the mines. Get in there and mine this for me. And he's like, I got better things to do, okay? I got my own
gold
projects.
in these hills, Adam. There's gold to be.
I got my own. Yeah, I got my own projects to work on. She's look. She's in Hollywood. She's the last 5 years in Hollywood have been just Hollywood looking for tons of diversity hires. So she's probably got a lot of jobs off of this. Guilt to be mined. So, and this guy looks like a blue collar guy. Well, no, I guess it's in Los Angeles, so he's living in Los Angeles too.
Well, a lot of these people fly out there, so we don't know where they come from.
You think so?
Yeah, all the time.
Not.
Usually they're people that are YouTubers, streamers, TikTokers. There are other people that are trying to like break into the pundit space.
Oh, I guess you're right. I do see some people like that.
Yeah.
I Am Really Important has been on these panels a bunch of times, and I've heard him talking about it on his live stream where he says one of the producers calls him regularly to get him in.
Right.
So, because they know he's local.
Right.
Do not bring up.
You're local.
Do you think I'm going to go down here and like, that's so insane.
Listen, Adam, I want you put some shoe polish on your face. Be like, listen, I'm a black conservative.
Oh my God. Oh my
Show
God. That would
to
that
the
would definitely
Jubilee
that would go viral. That would definitely go viral for all the wrong reasons.
What do you
I'd be
think, Shat? You think it's a
completely
good
hated.
idea?
You think I could make you think I could make $1 million on a GoFundMe if I said, oh my God, I'm being attacked just because I did blackface in a Jubilee video? I mean, that's some high stakes gambling. That is some high stakes gambling, right?
What would I mean? I don't think Jubilee would do it, but how that would be the viral moment. Okay, is like they're all sitting here, and then you like come in from like a side door, and you sit down
right in front of
like,
her?
okay, let me tell you about the black experience.
Can you imagine the look on her face when I sat down with blackface?
Jesus Christ.
She would look around. She'd be like, oh my God, the producers, what the fuck?
An explosion.
I would say, look, I identify as black, so get over yourself.
Yeah, there you go. You said race is not real. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh,
Bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
They said the
Harriet
Lord's
Tubman,
name in vain.
Harriet
The
Tubman,
Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know
what's this little fact check say? Harriet Tubman directly rescued more than 60 people and provided assistance to dozens of others during her journey to freedom. Harriet Tubman received help from free and enslaved African Americans and whites, including the Quakers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Quakers are really big anti-slavery back
Which
in
is
the day.
great.
Mhm.
This is why when so many progressives shit on religion, I go, yeah, maybe, I mean, they were
Well,
probably anti-slavery because of their religion, so.
a lot of the big anti-slavery movements in America, were people that
religious,
were
yeah.
very religious.
It's so funny. The anti-theists always point to the Bible. The Bible condoned slavery.
Right. Well,
There
I
wouldn't
mean,
be
it
any
did, but,
slavery if it
yeah.
wasn't for religion. Religion caused the slavery.
Well, it's interesting. I know the Old Testament allowed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the new. It's weird 'cause I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know if in history, would Jews were living in other countries like after Israel fell. I don't know if there's really a time where they had slaves that I could think of.
Jewish people never had slaves. Get out
I think they did like
here.
based like if it maybe if it was like allowed, like I'm sure there were Jews in America that had slaves like when it was allowed, but it wasn't like a thing. Like that's why I don't really buy that argument about like, oh, slavery was allowed in the Bible. It was, but I don't think like Jews or Christians were really going out there like we need to go get slaves because the Bible tells us to. Like it doesn't seem like that was a thing. Like people were getting slaves because they just wanted, slaves. They weren't really doing it for religious purposes.
People put themselves into slavery, though. There's a long history of it. If you're in
Well,
a
that's a different type
situation,
of slavery, though.
I mean, it's the same type as when you don't have any personal freedom. You do whatever somebody else tells you to do, right?
No,
It's not that different.
I think in the situation you're talking about where people like quote sell themselves into slavery,
Or
I believe I don't think it was for
sells
life.
them into
I
slavery,
think it was
or they're
for
a pawn. Those are
I think it
pawns.
was for periods of time.
Those are pawns.
Sure. I'm just saying it's different than like the child slavery people talking about in America. But
Chattel
anyway,
slavery or child slavery?
chattel slavery. Yes.
Stealing someone from some other place, and
yes,
bringing them and selling them into slavery.
Yes, it's a little different. Yeah, but
yes.
listen to what she says here about Harriet Tubman. This is pretty crazy.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
No,
Come on in.
No,
come on
you know
in.
who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God.
This guy.
And
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things.
Oh my God! She throws the Quakers under the bus.
I
Fuck
know.
you.
I know. Oh
we
my God.
shouldn't have saved this lady. Holy shit!
People who benefit from white supremacy. What does that even mean? That's a fucking. She doesn't expound on that. I wish she would. That's a
just
fucking
a
crazy
gibberish.
Yeah,
Just a gibberish.
look at this reaction shot from this lady. It's so funny.
I know she's
And
pissed.
behind her.
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God and
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
It's a
that
lie.
It's just like what the fuck?
People who
Why do they-
benefit from white supremacy. The Quakers.
Is that just
doing
everyone?
so much benefiting?
Is she just? I guess by when she says that, she just means all white people.
Yeah.
All white people. It's like okay,
She's a big old racist.
yeah.
It's
One
a
of the-
lie.
No, sir,
It's
that's
a
simply
lie.
not
There's
true.
no such. I mean,
If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power
You
when
know
they
why
do
they're
not
in
have the
position of
power.
power? Because they're
Wait, so that was an insane argument. She's like, the reason that the white people that helped Harriet Tubman were gaining something from white supremacy is because colonialism continues to exist today. What?
Colonialism doesn't exist today.
That's like insane. It's an insane thing to say.
culture. Black
Who's where?
culture is toxic.
Where are the colonies that we can join? Come on, I want to go join some. I want to participate in colonialism. Where are some colonies?
Go to Guam, Adam, or America Samoa, right?
Is that a colony?
Those are our
American
colonies.
colonies?
Yes.
Are they really?
Um,
They're still
I for-
colonies?
I forget the exact term that they're called, but they're not They're not
I want a
colonies in
fresh colony.
they're
Come on.
territories.
I
You
want a
new
new
colony? You want something new?
I want
Listen,
to
you're like,
colonize something new.
Putin's doing it, right? This is the real
We
problem.
need to colonize black supremacy. That's what
No,
we
no,
need
see,
to do.
Donald Trump is right. We need to conquer Greenland. We
Oh,
need to
yeah.
colonize Greenland.
There are people already there, though. But they're the indigenous people. We can just throw them out or convert
That's how
them.
colonizing works. What do you mean? You go to a place where there's people living and you either kill them or subjugate them.
Okay.
That's the good part of colonizing.
Perfect.
The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, it's a debate has to be in facts.
You're putting off emotional liberalism right now.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism.
I love this guy. I can't help
Emotional
myself. This guy's great.
Jesus.
It is so good just watching someone beat up on someone. It's great.
Here's
It's great fun.
Here's your thumbnail, Adam.
Uh-huh.
You got her like triggered, making the puckered face. The guy kind of smiling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thumbnail.
You.
hmm
She's so mad. He's doing great.
putting off unfounded lies
That's what y'all
based
do.
in
Y'all start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at
conservatives
this man.
did. They said
You're carrying
misinformation.
a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that acted.
There it is.
Oh, she went there. She went
Mhm.
there, the apartheid nation. But she thinks America's an apartheid nation anyway. So
Of course.
really what does it even mean?
actively wants to harm black people and
What about the
non-Jewish
apartheid?
people.
What
But
about
let
when-
me bring it
what
back.
about when
Let
black
me bring
people
it
were
back.
selling black people
Let me
in
bring it.
Africa
That was not happening
and
in
put
the
them
context that
cages,
you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their
bring
own
it
people.
back.
Black people still sell
Okay.
their own people today too. By
I don't
the
know
way,
if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own
I
people
can't-
today
I don't know
too.
if I'm gonna
You probably
last.
won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so
See, y'all,
overwhelming.
that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all
No,
getting
it's
defeated
not
in an
name
argument.
calling. You won't have an argument because you keep
This is what we did for our cold open. I know you missed the whole thing.
Okay.
cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine if they don't let me come
You
back
won't
up.
even.
I made my
you won't.
point.
You didn't make your
I made my point.
You haven't
And
made
I'm
your
okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point. You started off saying we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work, but why should
That-
people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting
be
at home playing a
giving
video
checks?
game? Are
But
you
no, the
sitting at
people that
home
they-
playing a video game?
The people that they wanted
Am I
reparations
sitting at home
for-
playing a video game? No.
The people
and
they
I don't
want
know
reparations
I don't
for-
know who these people are that you're talking about because the majority of the black community is not sitting at home playing video games.
The majority of the black
Where are
community
you
is
getting
doing a
that
lot of
statistic?
things.
Where are you
A lot
getting
of
that
things is not
statistic?
right.
Pause.
If
Damn.
you're, if so, since only one of her parents is a Black American, does she only get like half the reparations check? Like, how does that work?
The reparations, these people lived forever ago. I
Mhm.
don't, it's not fair to take money from people alive today for some problem that took place in the past, for some conflict from the past. It's not
So I
fair.
think so. Their argument would be the counter argument. Their argument would be, even though that's true, the echoes, to use the Ben Shapiro quote, the echoes of slavery and discrimination have continued to cause all these problems today, and that never been really addressed. That's how they feel. And then you're saying, but how's that fair to people, who were not part of that to end up paying for that?
Well, the same, if you want to say because they lived in poverty or they didn't have certain economic opportunities, that the echoes of that persist today.
Mhm.
I get that, but there's plenty of white people who have been in the same exact situation.
Yeah,
who,
that's true.
their ancestors
Of course.
were poor. They didn't get economic opportunity. So why are you making this distinction?
Oh, I
Right?
think I think their argument would be, if I try to steal in that position, it would be that, well, they wouldn't say this, because they try to make dumber arguments. This is what I would say is that, we've talked a lot about, and this is true of any lower income group, any lower income culture. Okay, let me back up a second. All cultures are self-replicating their behaviors, and all cultures try to preserve their cultural attitudes. And that's just a fact, because if it doesn't, then it won't exist as a culture in the first place. Like, culture has to police itself to maintain itself. Otherwise, it would just not exist as a culture in the first place, right?
Well, unless the culture's dying out, obviously, then
Well, yeah,
sometimes they go out.
of course. But I'm just saying, like, if it's not dying out, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, then it's not a culture.
If the culture is successful, it's got to replicate itself.
Exactly.
You could make that claim, yes.
Yes, if a culture is successful, and by success, all we would mean is it spreads, or it continues to exist. Not that the culture makes people happy or do well in society. It just means that the cultural attitudes get passed down. It's from kind of like an evolutionary perspective. That's what it means to be successful. Just these ideas keep getting passed down.
Yeah, it persists over time.
Right, exactly. And so for something to be a culture that is existing, it has to keep passing down the ideas continually. And so if you have any culture that arises in a group of people who are not doing well economically or not doing well in any aspect of society, and that culture keeps getting passed down, then yeah, it's going to be self-destructive. And I think the argument you could make is you could say, well, why do these cultures form in the first place? And I do think it is fair to say a lot of the negative attributes of, lower income, quote, Black culture that we're talking about here probably exist in response to the subjugation of Black people via slavery, via Jim Crow laws, and all these other attitudes. And the thing that made these sort of negative or antisocial cultural memes sticky to a lot of people in lower income Black communities is because it was easy to tell people who had been subjugated by the government, hey, the government's out to get you, the country's out to get you, no matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's going to be appealing to people in those situations. So I do think it's fair to say there is a level of culpability in the country of America for helping those ideas gain prominence, even though it's true that we still today live in a society where if you ignore all that bullshit and you do, go to school and work hard and get a job, that you can completely pull yourself out of that situation. Like, those can both be true at the exact same time. Right.
Yeah. Look, obviously people have suffered, people have gotten wronged, and people get cut off at the knees all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just separating it out like this by skin color and giving money from one group to another group, that's going to cause so much more cultural conflict than where we're at now.
Well, giving money is stupid for two reasons. Number one, just going to piss everyone off. And that's not Black, obviously. But then also number two, it wouldn't even help with the problem in the first place. Just giving people money, that doesn't do it. Like, unless you're a person,
it's not going to change the culture.
Yeah, because unless you're a person,
probably going to make people more resentful, do more redlining.
Unless you're a person who's already highly self-motivated, and smart and has an idea of how to pull themselves out of a bad situation. Like, if you give those people money, yeah, then that's going to help them. But that's not the majority of the population in the world. That's a very small minority of any population has that attitude, that type A kind of go-getter personality attitude. So it's not going to be useful. But then if you go back and you say, okay, what was the original idea for reparations? Was to give people 40 acres and a mule. It wasn't to give people money. It was to give people the means of which to succeed in society. Because the idea was you have farmland, you can farm, you can provide for yourself. And then if you make additional food, you can then sell that. And that's how people, could make money back in the day. So I personally, I'm 100% opposed to just giving people money. I think it's stupid. I wouldn't be opposed to the concept of saying, okay, if you do well in school and you have good grades, you can go to a state college for free. Now, I would be in favor of that for everyone, honestly. Not just
you
Black
should
people.
do it for everyone.
So I would say, you do that for everybody. But
look,
if you want to roll the concept of reparations into that, I guess maybe to just appease some people, that's the way you should probably do it.
if you set up some program that was an opportunity for anyone to take some kind of small business loan out and start a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is available to anyone, black, white, whatever. Anyone can take advantage of it. If black Americans take advantage of that home loan or the business loan and start a business, the leftist is going to be saying, oh my God, you're taking money from the white man. She's going to be all over that shit.
Right.
She's going to
of
say
course.
that's wrong. You're like selling yourself to white culture and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so messed up because the way to solve the problem is to make opportunities that are available to everyone. But
Right.
that's not the situation they want. They want an opportunity that's exclusive to black people. Reparations.
Yeah, I understand.
It's
I understand
your
that.
sole opportunity.
Right.
So much of it just seems aimed at fuck whitey than it does actually helping the black community.
Well, I think the idea is not, to be fair, I think it's more just we feel, quote, we feel that we have been wronged, and we feel like we need some sort of something to address that, to make up for this
Yeah, but not
wronging.
everybody feels that. Obviously, there's 20
Well,
people on
obviously
this
not
panel
everyone
that
feels
don't
that.
feel jilted.
Right.
And only
We have to
one
talk about
person
this
that does
in
jilted.
generalities.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you. Free college for everyone with good grades. Of course, they're going to start
Which a lot of states, I
immediately.
think, do have programs that essentially
Sure.
do that already.
Well, obviously, they're immediately going to start arguing, well, it's disproportionate. The white people get better tutors and the black people are in low income schools and fucking they can't take advantage of this because they have the bad grades. Even though they're telling them all day, society's jilted against you and there's no reason to study or try hard because you're never going to succeed.
But that's the problem, is that I think a lot of people on the left, not even just the alt left, but in the normal left, there does need to be a give and take in this situation. Because it's like, yeah, okay, we give people free college if they do, well in school. It's like, oh, well, yeah, but, white people in rich neighborhoods have better schools. Like, okay, that's true. But then why are like poor schools failing? It's not just funding. They always want to focus on funding. I knew someone that taught at a public school that was a poor school. And it was a fucking horror show he was talking about. It was a total
it's
horror
not
show. It was
just funding.
predominantly a
Behavioral
black
problems.
it was predominantly a black population school. And he just said it was 100% discipline problems. It was just 100% discipline problems. It was impossible to teach. And the reason there was discipline problems was because a bunch of woke lefties had thought it was like racist to discipline kids and to take kids that were the problem kids out of class. And so it was impossible to teach in these scenarios.
Yeah, because they're only problem kids because society's structured against them and we should feel sorry for them.
But who cares? This is why we have to say to the people on the left, who cares? Yes, it's true that a lot of people who do a lot of bad shit had bad lives. I don't give a fuck. Fuck those people. Just because you had a bad life doesn't mean that you get to fuck with other people, especially other people who had bad lives too, who aren't fucking with other people. Okay.
Yes.
Why the fuck? This is like the toxic idea that has to like be like fucking beaten into the left here. Is just, it doesn't, if someone has a bad life, that's okay. That sucks for them.
It's not a license to fuck up.
It's not a license to make everyone else's fucking life miserable. Fuck those people. Those people are scumbag. Those people should know better. They should know better because they should say, oh, I lived a bad life, so I should be, better to people. I should try to make everything better. If you have bad things happen to you and you just want to make it worse for everyone, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you. Throw you in the deepest, darkest fucking prison to get you away from society so people who have had bad lives and are not trying to fuck with everyone can actually do good.
Prison industrial complex right there. I see what you're doing.
That's what you have to do. It's just crazy. It's insane to me. That's the toxic empathy. That's the toxic empathy mentality right there that too many people on the left have.
I totally agree. But you're not going to get them to give it up.
No.
As you've been voted out by the majority, please return to your seat.
I knew I was.
Are we moving?
Yeah, let me jump ahead here.
A lot of people here do believe especially based off of personal experiences and everything, that it is just lack of accountability. In the Black community, we need to start taking responsibility for our actions and stop pointing our fingers at other people and the white man. Because to be honest,
why can't both happen at the same time?
Because
both are causes.
Because you got to clean your own house before
Both
you
are
go complain.
why?
Because if
you're dirtying my house, if you keep pouring shit into my house and I'm cleaning it, why can't I do both? Why can't I clean my house?
I mean, listen, I think you can do both. I don't disagree with that, but that's the problem, is that no one wants to do both. And I don't think she wants to do both. And I don't think she'd advocate for doing both, because she believes that, it seems like she believes, I shouldn't say this directly, it seems like she believes from this conversation that succeeding in society and emulating success in society is selling out your Black identity.
Selling out. God, I fucking hate that.
I was talking to Sam about this when we were talking about this. It's very interesting. In the original Star Trek, the Klingons were supposed to be based on the Soviet Union. And in the Soviet Union, under communism, obviously they were not doing as good economically as America was under capitalism. And, you know, there's that famous video, or there's a picture of like the Russian guy coming to the American grocery store, and he's blown away by the selection of choices. He's like, oh my God, there's like 20 different types of bread and, you know, 100 different cereals and all these other stuff. Because in the Soviet Union, you went to the grocery store, there was one type of bread. You know, there's one type of eggs, there's one type of milk, there's one type of cereal, there's one of everything. There was not variety. And there wasn't a lot of luxury items. And humans, and this is true, this is all humans do this. Humans do this thing that's a defense mechanism, where when humans are in a bad situation that they don't think they can get out of, very often they start to rationalize whatever's going on and think, oh, well, this actually must be a good situation for me. That's why I'm here, especially if they can see other people in a better situation. And you did see this in the Soviet Union a lot, where because they were kind of had their own pride in being Russian, and they would compare themselves to America, and America was doing better, they would construct this sort of mental idea of, oh, well, even though we don't have the luxury goods and the choices that Americans have, that's better. That makes us stronger. It makes Americans weak that they have all these choices and all these luxury, you know, goods and all these other things. That makes them weak and soft. We're strong and hard because we don't have access to those things. So people would always do this, always kind of like turn around and rationalize, you know, the bad things to try to make it good. And this is true of everyone. So, and I do think this is where you get this idea, some of this idea of like how, oh, if you are, you know, grow up in a Black community or lower income Black community and you do well, you're selling out some positive aspect of you. Like the fact that you're doing poorly or suffering should be considered a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right. Is that, how much of that is driven just by jealousy though?
A lot of it is.
Probably. This is different, a little bit different than learned helplessness.
No, that's a different concept.
Because you're rationalizing. But I do think there is some element of learned helplessness, going on with people.
Well, I think what I'm describing is a defense. It's sort of a psychological defense to learned helplessness, but it actually puts you in the exact same position as learned helplessness.
Right.
It just makes you feel maybe a little better about it.
Yeah, exactly. You're happy with your shit situation. Yeah. Where learned helplessness, you're not happy with your shit situation. You're just not. In both situations, you're not going to try to improve your situation, though.
It's funny because there's all these Dilbert comic strips that are about the exact same thing, where Dilbert or Wally or some person would be, you know, in some bad work situation, and they'd be like, why am I in this horrible job at this horrible company? You know, I can go somewhere else. And then it's like the cognitive dissonance kicks in. They go, oh, well, I must be working here because I love it here. The more you torture me, the more I must convince myself that I actually love what I'm experiencing. And so then they would convince themselves that they actually enjoyed working.
Right.
Are the windows from you shitting on my house?
Because it begins with responsibility within us. If we're like, okay, oh, the white person's doing this to me, the white person's not, we're not going to ever come to the core of the issue.
They are. are.
We need to take
and
responsibility.
it's not even just the white person, because now we have seen very many races, people of very many backgrounds that are actively participating in the effort to keep a working class down. Like that is absolutely a fact. It's not just white people. So I don't attend to that. But I will say the reality of there being systems in place is real. Over-policing is a real thing. You know what's also been really real is the effort of violence interruption in certain communities, right? So we've seen this in Detroit, we've seen this in New York, we've seen this in Baltimore, where there are communities that have said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be like a neighborhood watch for our community. So that before the popo even come, before 12 even rolls up in here, we're gonna actually put ourselves in between the conflict and calm it down. And that has been incredibly effective. But you know what? It's not funded.
What's this fact check here?
As according to the Department of Justice, Detroit's model for neighborhood watch significantly reduced crime and fear of crime. Neighborhood watches in general, however, have mixed results.
Oh, look at that.
So, I agree. I mean, listen, I agree with what she's saying. I think that's a great idea, is to have neighborhood watches. That does sound like that's a very, very positive change.
To get involved.
Yeah. I would be curious about the funding issue, because it can work either way. On one hand, you could say, okay, if people are doing this without receiving money, you're going to at least probably get people that are doing it for positive ideological reasons, not, corrupt reasons. Like if you start adding money into the equation, maybe people are just doing it for a paycheck. And then at that point, maybe you're more likely to get people that would, abuse their power. Maybe. Mm-hmm. The flip side of that, which is something we've talked about, is if you do, like we talked about this with the police, if you don't pay the police enough, it makes it more likely that they will take bribes. So if you pay them enough so that that a bribe is not going to match their salary and thus is not worth it for them to get in trouble, that's also a behavior you want to curb. So I'm not sure which one, but I'm in favor of the concept of neighborhood watches. It does seem like a good idea.
Bunch of nosy busybodies getting up in your business.
Yes.
No.
You're against neighborhood watching.
I don't mind if they watch. I don't know that I want them getting involved if there's some sort of altercation or something.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be safe. I don't know. I think there's a difference between, like, we're not talking about like a homeowners association, like, oh, you didn't bring your trash cans in, or
well, that's what it would devolve into.
I don't.
If you gave them any kind of power, it would devolve into like a
when we were talking about like Detroit's neighborhood watch, I'm assuming they were doing more active policing of the selling of drugs and stopping crime than complaining about a bunch of privileged middle-class suburban problems. I'm just guessing.
It's not funded. And you would think that like city councils and mayors and governors would say, shit, you know what? This is going to save us so much money, because why? Taxpayers keep having to pay for the fault of these police.
These people will police themselves. It'll be great. We'll save all this money.
That's what you want, though. Ideally, that's the point of like having a culture, is that for people to police themselves from bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agree with you.
Because here's the thing. Look at our media. Look at rap. Look at what we're glorifying.
Right.
We're glorifying violence.
Who's we? Who's we? Who's
the black community?
Who controls the
black community?
Who controls the distribution of these sources of media?
And who takes it in?
I know.
Is she gonna say
it's a JQ? She's going
the
for the
JQ.
JQ.
Is she gonna say the JQ? Oh no, Kanye, where are you? Kanye's gonna swoop in. The Jews.
Yeah.
The Jews are keeping black people
You pan
down.
to the side and Kanye's sitting over there.
He's like, preach girl. He does the Heil Hitler song all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
And who takes it in?
Listen, if you're, okay, so let me put it in this context. If I have a company, right, and you
What's this about with kind of...
Look, she stopped herself. She stopped her. She knew even that was too far. She's like, oh, my God, I can't.
I know. This idea that the media can just feed you anything and people will suck it down, it's just not true. It's not true. And anyone that works in media knows that's not true. That's why they're always scrambling around trying to figure out what the trend is, what the next big thing is. You can't just sell anything to anyone.
Yeah, the internet changed everything. Democratization of media.
Yes.
Now it became a bottom-up process.
Employees, and I determine what you get to eat every day. that's also going to determine how you exist in this company, right? Like if you come to work and I say the only thing you can eat is processed foods and fried foods and you're not going to get to have the best vegetables, etc. What's that going to affect? Your health, that's going to affect your ability to operate, etc. This is how the United States operates. There's a lot of us that don't want to admit that as much as accountable as we want to be, all of our brains also don't operate the same way. Some of us are much more apt to be indoctrinated than others. That's a fact. There is a 1% of people that knows this. There's a whole show called Mad Men that's about advertising, etc.
Moment of silence for the irony of this.
I know.
The woman who's the most indoctrinated on the panel.
I know.
I'm so free of the indoctrination.
Well, it's just, it's so annoying. There's zero, no one has ever presented evidence for this. It's this claim, oh, white people or Jews, created rap music for the purpose of keeping black people down, and controlling them,
getting them to fight in the streets.
First of all, it makes no fucking sense. It makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Yeah.
You're really telling me that you think that if white people, a group of white elites had the ability to manipulate the black population, instead of trying to manipulate them to be good consumers and productive citizens,
eat a lot of bagels.
Right. Yeah. Eat a lot of bagels, buy a bunch of shit from Amazon and from Target, go to your job and
get to work early.
Yeah. Be a wage slave. Yeah. Get to work early. Like, instead of doing all these things you think they do, like, no. We're going to promote for people to not participate in society, to do crime, which costs all of our companies money and makes everyone unhappy. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, totally.
It's so stupid.
Laughable.
And so many people just regurgitate this nonsense, because this is why I said, like, when this guy's talking about, well, we need to take personal responsibility, and she's like, why can't we do both? I don't believe she wants to do both. I don't believe she's even conceptually able to do both, because she can't even conceptualize that, like, yes, there's a lot of shitty music out there. No, that's also everyone else's fault. Where's the personal responsibility here?
It's total excuse culture, because if you're out there in the streets slinging drugs and murdering people, now you have a ready-made excuse for why, oh, it's not my fault. It's society's fault. It's all these people's fault. These other people's fault. They forced me to do it.
Right.
That's exactly what's going on. It's not really happening. It's just a ready-made excuse for them.
Yeah.
For their own bad behavior.
And if we don't acknowledge multiple things at the same time, then we simply cannot stop it. We can be as accountable as we want to be. And I hope that if you're right, because I hope you're right, I wish that it was a situation where if black people could just be accountable, then nothing else would matter. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, because we have seen when we have Black Wall Street in Tulsa and we have Black Wall Street in Durham, that when we actually do hold our own and build our own communities, they will still come and run it down.
Pause.
See, it's pointless. It's pointless to do another Black Wall Street, right?
I'm unfamiliar with the Durham example that she's talking about. I do know about the Tulsa situation, because that had to do with the Watchmen TV show, which I reviewed. So I looked into it. First of all, it's insane. And in the year is 2025. It's insane to talk about things that would work for any community if your response is, well, it didn't work for a community in 1921.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might be trying to get time to give it another shot, right?
Yeah. When you're talking about something that happened almost 100 years ago, I don't think that's a good counterexample. Like, almost 100 years ago, they tried to, it's like, okay, let's talk about now. So that's first of all. And then secondly, the thing with the Tulsa, Black Wall Street situation, it is, even though there was a bunch of white racist people that came down and they burned a lot of sections of Tulsa down, and it was a complete fucking horrible shit show. What they didn't, like, I don't know how this framing came about. It wasn't a bunch of white people that got angry and said, oh, there's black people who are doing successful businesses here, so we're going to go burn it down. There's like this whole like long thing where like this black guy was accused of a crime that he probably didn't do. And, basically a bunch of racist white people wanted to lynch the guy. And then a bunch of black people who had fought, I think in World War I, like tried to protect them, and then shooting broke out. And it kind of like one of these things that just kind of escalated into this like insane riot situation. It wasn't like, oh, black people are doing successful over here, let's go burn their fucking shit down.
Yeah, that's the narrative that's evolved out of the complexity of the true narrative, what
Right.
truly happened. Yeah.
Right. Which,
But again, it's
obviously
excuse
not,
culture. They're just
yeah.
using it as an excuse.
Yes, we
They're
can't
saying.
succeed because even
Yeah.
if we succeed, some random racist people are going
Right.
to come burn our community down, which again is 2025. I don't think that's going to happen. When you look at who was destroying communities in the 2020s, it wasn't a bunch of white people running around burning down communities, was it? So
Yeah. So I have two claims I want to settle. So I'm originally from New Orleans, right? And I seen black on black crime my whole
Absolutely.
life, right?
Yes.
I don't believe it have nothing to deal with the police. It's more with the community because there's a lot of pride that's in that city where to the point where this person can't tell me nothing. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna take him out.
Yeah.
Is that simple in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Now in Cali it's probably the same way, but I feel like every state is different. You probably the way how your belief is might be right? But in New Orleans, it's a little different. Also, my second claim is this: we proclaim so much about Black Lives Matter, but when it comes down to a white person killing a black person, it's a big deal. It just don't make no sense.
I just want to play that part is very interesting too, and I wish she would have addressed it. She doesn't address it at all. She gets kind of sidetracked on the BLM stuff. Yeah, you do have this attitude in a lot of cultures that are very anti working within the bounds of the law, working within the bounds of society. And that's obviously got to change if you want things to get better.
Definitely.
Okay, let me jump ahead here.
Saying though, we have to be honest, Amanda. When Indians
as a fellow daughter of an immigrant,
Okay.
right? So my mother's from Grenada. My mother did come here and was able to work and was able to get green cards
Props
for
to
folks.
her.
So shout out to my mom. There's a very big difference in growing up somewhere and coming from a place where you are the majority and where your people are running the show than being somewhere where your people have been subjugated the entire time your people have been
But your
here.
mama came here and she wasn't the majority, so how did she succeed?
I do think that's true. I do think that's a fair point. I don't know what the solution to it is, but I do think it does change people. Like for me personally, I don't have this attitude, and I was just born this way. I just don't have this attitude of like caring about my ancestry, like my roots at all. It just doesn't, I don't care. But I understand that I'm in the minority in that position. Because
Yeah, most people want to be grounded in their heritage.
Most people do find that important and grounding and all this other stuff. And I do think it's a fair point to bring up that, and I do think this is part of the, probably definitely the psychic damage you want to talk about that has been incurred here is that, when you have people that move here, from a country, they do have some sort of cultural idea, something they can draw upon. Even if they're leaving a country that has a lot of problems, I think a lot of people still have an attitude of like, well, they have a lot of problems now because of the government, or they have a lot of problems now, but it wasn't always that way. I have a culture of people that I can look back to and see did some things successfully, because the best way it seems that humans learn is they emulate other humans. And unfortunately, because we're all kind of biologically programmed to be horrible racist, it's easier for us to look at someone who looks like us or is part of our ethnicity or part of our culture succeeding and say, okay, well, they could do it, I can do it. And I think that is part of the problem is that, when you had chattel slavery, you basically stole a bunch of people from their land, completely cut them off from having any sort of like cultural, historical idea of having any association with anyone except for a country which, was subjugating them through slavery and Jim Crow laws and all this other stuff.
I mean, there is a logic to it when you're emulating people who are the same race or ethnicity or sex as you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just think culturally for so long, certain professions were only open to certain races and certain genders. So if you see that someone can do it and they're your race or gender, then that is open to you as an option. So
well, I don't know if I say there's a logic to it. I think it's humans are wired to be racist and sexist. And you have to, as a society or as an individual, make an effort through your own personal experiences or your personal learning, I should say, or even just through the culture basically hammering into people to not be racist, the idea to not be racist or sexist. So just because that we have that wiring, because we as humans evolved for, hundreds of thousands, if not a million years, we'd only interact with people that were, in our local tribe. So people that look like us. The other tribe could be dangerous. And then also those societies were, despite what some people on the left try to say, those societies were heavily gender segregated in terms of what people did.
Yeah, of
And so
course.
because of that, that is sort of how the emulation process works, I think, in our minds.
Yes. Yeah.
She succeeded because she came here with the fortitude of coming from a place.
Her resilience, right?
No, but
and she had her village.
Let me say what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll let you unpack.
If we don't acknowledge divide and conquer in the United States, we are having a pointless conversation.
I agree.
We have to acknowledge that there is a concerted effort at divide and conquer in the United States. We're literally watching it happen right now with an effort to divide and conquer and have black people fighting immigrants and have black people saying that immigrants don't matter.
And fighting white people.
White people is not the point. The concept of white.
I mean, this is a conspiracy. I hate this. Comes up so often.
I do hate it as well.
All the elites are getting us to all fight each other instead of fighting them. Well, okay, do you have a single shred of evidence for that whatsoever? That there's this conspiracy to keep all the lowers fighting each other just to distract them? No.
Yeah. Look, obviously, people want cheap labor. Immigration is a good source of cheap labor. So, and if the black community stands up for itself,
well, it doesn't even make sense. There were time periods under monarchies and other situations, or even colonialism, or empires, it was true, you would have the monarchs or the empires would intentionally, they probably wouldn't start it, but they would help cultivate some level of internal strife because they wanted to maintain their power over the area, right? It would make sense for them to do it logically. In America and in a capitalist country, that doesn't even make sense because, again, the elites want you to buy their shit. That's the entire point. They want to make a product, they want to sell it to you. So it makes no sense that they wouldn't want everyone to be able to participate in society, have a good job, have disposable income, and buy a bunch of garbage crap that you
that's
don't
the
need.
magic of capitalism right there.
Yes. That's why I think when you look across the world, that countries that adopt capitalism and liberalism specifically seem to do, or I should say Western democracy, because people don't understand what liberalism means. Countries that adopt Western democracies and capitalism just seem to keep succeeding once those cultural memes take effect. They rise people out of poverty and they become first world countries.
I sent you some screenshots from a study by Joseph Henrich where it shows that the closer people live to markets, the more pro-social they are. The closer people live to capitalistic style markets, the more pro-social they become, because obviously you have to. I sent it to you before we did our debate with Econo Boy.
Right,
I was looking for it, but
yeah.
And it's so devastating because obviously it goes against this. Capitalism makes people fight one another in the streets, and
that's a great point.
Dog eat dog. No, it makes people nice to one another because they want to sell them shit. Because they're like, oh my God, this person might actually buy something from me. You might be a client of mine or a customer of mine.
Yes. When you're talking, when individual people have different ideologies that can motivate them, but when we're talking about trying to influence broad behaviors, I think the only way to really successfully do that is you have to create strong incentives and disincentives. Strong incentives for good behaviors and disincentives for negative behaviors.
Yes, and capitalism does that in spades.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because you're right. Yeah. If you need to do business with people, then you'd have to be nice to them.
You're forced to be nice to them.
Yes.
And don't we like a situation where people are forced to be nice to one another? I
nice.
personally do.
Right.
Here it is. I found it. Way back.
White people is about people who are upholding as a supremacy of whiteness versus people who understand that there should be an egalitarianism. There should be an equality.
That we are becoming the new white supremacists.
We are.
We've been putting them on a pedestal.
We are.
We feel like we can't do anything.
Well, that's interesting. She acknowledged that they are becoming the new. Oh, I think they mean it in different ways. I think the woman here on the right, she means it that Black people are acting like racial identitarians. And I think the radical means it in the perspective of, well, Black people are selling out their identity to become white supremacists. So I think they mean it in completely different ways.
We are. No, it's not that we're putting them. It's not that we're putting them on a pedestal. It's that we are joining them and instead weaponizing our Blackness against our people. When we do what you're saying, we are saying, I am better because I figured it out, and so you're the problem because you didn't figure it out.
But Amanda, what about if I believe that the American dream is, I have a right to that as well? Is that me joining white people, or is that me saying, you know what, I want a life for my dream? The American dream for me, because it may look different from other people. Some people it's a boss chick. For me, I want my kids to grow up in a wonderful neighborhood. I want them to go to college. I want to have a 401k. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I feel like a lot of times in the Black community, we associate anything that's right or that's just or that's striving forward with whiteness. So when you say that we're working with them,
it's whiteness, it's capital.
See, this woman totally nailed it. 100% correct.
She gets it.
Capitalism.
Having a happy life is being white now? What?
Right.
What the fuck?
Well, listen to what, and this really shows you how toxic socialism is. And this is why I get very frustrated when we interact with socialists who want to pretend like all the culture war woke race shit is nothing to do with socialism. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I want to do this, I want to do that. So I feel like a lot of times in the Black community, we associate anything that's right or that's just or that's striving forward with whiteness. So when you say that we're working with them,
it's whiteness, it's capitalism. And I think that's what we have
this guy, his face, it says it all. It's like, oh, that's the problem with what you're saying. It's not whiteness, it's capitalism.
He knows
stop
what's
it.
up.
Oh my God.
to understand the difference of. The concept of capitalism always is grounded in exploitation.
But Amanda, we're sitting here benefiting from capitalism, and you know that because you would want to move to a
that we are benefiting. I understand that we are benefiting from capitalism, but I also understand that we would have other people and a majority of people benefit if we were not solely capitalist. That is what it means to be a Black radical. It's to understand that I can benefit as well as others.
So Amanda, what is your solution then? Because we know that capitalism benefits us, and people are coming here every day.
My solution is what I continue to say. We need to have coalition building across cultural differences, across ethnicities, across classes.
And that includes collaborating with white people.
I've never said it didn't.
But I feel
this obsession with white people fails to acknowledge.
I hate whenever you're like, what is your solution to overturning capitalism? And they give you the crunchiest, bullshittiest, hippiest nonsense. Well, we need to build coalitions. What the fuck does that mean? You're going to build a coalition to overturn capitalism? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Fails to acknowledge the fact that there are people who benefit from white supremacy.
But we live in America,
Let me finish my point. There are people who benefit from white supremacy that do not identify themselves as white. They don't consider that to be the most important element of their identity, because they understand that at the end of the day, we need to see each other as humans that all deserve a right to exist.
Exactly.
We all deserve a right to exist, and I shouldn't have to earn my right to exist. And that is what capitalism does.
What makes you think that you have to earn it?
Wait, this is... What? Wait, first of all, how the fuck does capitalism have anything to do? Nothing to do with this. This is completely insane, number one. And then number two, that's the whole point of liberalism in the colorblind approach, is to say, yes, your skin color doesn't matter, your ethnicity doesn't matter. If you play the rules of society correctly, you get a good job, blah, 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 you can live the American dream. And when this woman expressed that exact opinion to her, she's like, no, that's bad because of capitalism. Like, fuck you.
Exactly what
are you talking about? You can't win. It's like, okay, if you get an education, get a job, you're either selling your Blackness or you're selling out to capital. Oh. It's just so frustrating because this is such an ideology that just causes nothing but pain and suffering and misery and destruction to everyone involved.
Well, you definitely have to earn your way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Just how does that change without capitalism? I mean, people still need to earn their own. They need to earn their keep, right?
Because then they'll say, well, it's more fair. You're not being held down by, CEOs and all this other shit. Which, listen,
how are they earning their keep in the non-capitalist system? Sapping off of someone else that's earning their keep for them?
Well, it's stupid. Listen,
Someone's earning.
I do think
earning
that
their keep.
if you look at things right now, income and wealth inequality is way too bad at the moment. Okay, it's definitely way too far apart. There needs to be some way to address that. But the idea that we need to overturn capitalism to address that, when we've addressed this in the past without overturning capitalism, is fucking stupid. Especially when all the alternatives to capitalism that all these fucking people keep presenting, every time they're put in place, they suck. They totally suck. And this is why in the conversation with the Econo Boy, it's like the only times that you can point to, oh, look, here's when socialists were in charge and it didn't suck. It's like, okay, you had socialists that were in charge of a capitalist country for like one term in the presidential cycle in some other European country for like 4 years. That's not communism.
It seems like her beef with capitalism was that you had to earn money to survive.
Right.
I'm just saying, well, I mean, obviously in the capitalist system, you have to earn money to survive. But even if you didn't have capitalism, you'd still have to.
Yes.
You'd have to earn your keep or whatever you want to call it. You have to earn food, water, shelter to survive in some way, right?
Well, maybe she doesn't
have to
believe in
beg,
incentives.
borrow, and steal it, or
that's the problem. Maybe she doesn't believe in incentives. You need to incentivize people to work. I need to be incentivized to work, Adam. I can be a lazy shit, okay? If I get everything provided for me, I just sit around and play video games and goon all day. That's fine. Most people are like that. We need to be incentivized to do shit, to work.
Most people, most people want to be lazy.
Yes.
Most people,
I am one of those people. I understand.
Most people, a job doesn't even incentivize them to not be lazy.
Right.
They feel like this is why people are socialists. They feel like they're getting robbed just having to be at a place and work. I kind of feel bad because I'm one of those people who's always enjoyed working. Like I like doing stuff. I always have projects. Yeah, look, I always have projects.
What a weirdo this guy is.
I like to play video games. I've done my share of playing video games. Playing video games is fun, but I feel like shit afterwards. I feel like, God, I wasted the whole fucking day. I mean, just entertaining myself.
See, but that's the anxiety that promotes you to be productive that not everyone has intrinsically.
Yeah,
a problem.
So look, and I mean, I've talked about it before, just watching TV. At least when we cover movies and television and stuff like that, I can watch TV and it is in some sort of productive framework, right? We're going to critique it. We're going to...
Right. You're going to analyze it.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. We're going to figure out what works, what doesn't work. My mind is very analytical that way.
Right.
Yeah. I'm painting, I'm working on, working towards a goal.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I would actually argue that the Black working class is failing themselves. Wouldn't you agree that, in order to get a job, in order to qualify for a certain position and an education system at a job, wouldn't you argue that it should be based off of qualifications and not your race or identity?
I've never argued that. I've never argued that. That's not
I know that you were saying that you would argue that it should be equal, right? So you're saying that there should be Black Americans in education systems, in jobs, but wouldn't you argue that they should be qualified for those positions and not just placed there because of their skin color?
I've never disproved that.
Okay, so
That's not what DEI is.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Well, I'm not talking about DEI right now.
That is exactly what DEI is.
Yeah, that is. Because the issue is you say, this is the problem. You say, okay, well, if we have equal requirements, you had this with like the orchestras. If you have blind auditions, right? They're like, oh, the orchestras are racist. They're not choosing enough Black people. I forget where this was, like New York or someplace. They're not choosing enough Black people to be on these orchestras. So everyone has to audition behind like a screen just to make it blind. Say, okay, so it's just nothing but listening to music. That makes perfect sense, right? Obviously, if it's entirely merit-based. But then the problem is they'll say, oh, well, if you do that and you still are not getting the racially equal levels that they want, then they get all up in arms about the whole situation. And they'll say, well, it's still not racially equal because, because of the past history of racism and all this other stuff and income inequality, Black people are going to be less likely or less inclined to be able to afford instruments for their children and teach their children to play instruments and blah, blah, all those other things. And it's like, okay, that's all true probably to some extent, but that doesn't mean you then have to lower the requirements to get into the orchestra in the first place. And the problem is that's just not the way people's brains work. They say, oh, okay, well, no, we just have to shove, black people into these colleges, into these orchestras, into any sort of job requirement, whatever, even if they don't meet the level of merit. And it doesn't work. It makes everyone fucking mad. It makes people that are working there feel like, oh, they're getting screwed over. Like I had to work hard for this, someone else didn't. It's just and then often those people don't even succeed because they literally didn't have the merit to get in that job in the first place.
From her perspective, any black person could do the job. They're all skilled enough to compete in any realm. So for her, it's very easy to fill all these roles with black candidates. That's her thinking, obviously.
Right.
So, but I mean, I would argue, I go back to the thing we said that we want to do a survey on.
Right.
If you tell the black community that there's no way you're going to get these jobs and no one's going to study in school and even go for the jobs, how are they going to be enough black candidates to actually fill the roles, right?
Right.
You're creating the problem.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, because you're suggesting that I suggested that somebody should get a job just because they're black. And I've never asserted anything like that.
I mean, I understand that you may not say that exactly, but a lot of the claims are, they're pointing to that.
No, it's not pointing to that. And so that is that I need to clear this up because it's a really...
That is true, though. That's what happens. That's what always happens. I mean, unless this person I guess the question I'd ask this lady is like, when Joe Biden said that he was going to specifically choose a black woman to be on the Supreme Court, did that bother you? Isn't that an example of exactly what we're talking about? He didn't say we're going to choose the best person that we can find, and then you say, oh, well, I found a black woman and she was the best person, right? No, he said, I specifically am going to find a black woman.
She would say that every black woman is qualified to be on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but right, and I would say...
That's what she would say.
I would say, first of all, I think that's silly. But even without even arguing that point, say, okay, regardless of whether you think that, why did Biden frame it that way? Why did he not just say that they want to get the best qualified person? Why did he specifically signal to the voting base and to America that he was going to specifically get a black woman?
Mm-hmm.
What is the point of doing that signaling?
To let them know they're going to get representation. The only thing that the Democrats are providing these days. Representation. You get to look at someone in a position of power that looks like you.
Right.
Don't you feel great? I mean, you can't afford a home and like you're basically one accident away from being on the streets.
Right.
But hey, Kamala Harris is president.
Capitalism.
Important point. Okay. We live in a nation that has actively pedestaled white people. Can we all agree on that? That we
in the past,
we can't.
in the past, but not currently. But not currently.
So okay, fair. Okay. So how many black people are part of this administration's cabinet?
I'm not sure. Can you tell me? Can you fill me in?
Zero. Who?
So it seems like there may be a couple.
That's not a cabinet.
I don't know.
Scott Turner.
Okay.
So there are. So we got two.
So there are.
So we got two.
Can we also?
We got two. So.
That's so. Here goes the goalpost. Let's move them. Let's move these goalposts.
Oh, back to your point, DEI.
Well, I would say listen. You can't use that as an argument. Say, well, there's not enough black people in the current administration. If you're going to dismiss that Obama being president had any effect or anything positive, because that's usually what happens in conversations. Like, oh, we had a black president. Oh, shut the fuck up. That was irrelevant. That was pointless.
Totally irrelevant.
Is about expanding.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Not lowering credibility.
Okay.
So if we have a system that has very actively said these particular people are the best people simply because of their race, DEI said, or their gender.
No, nobody said that. God, it's so infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
White people are in positions of power because they're white. Just because they're white.
Well, that's the operating conspiracy.
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous, obviously. I mean, there's going to be more white people in positions of power because they're the majority race.
Right.
So there's going to be more highly qualified white people than there is going to be highly qualified black people, even though there is going to be both, obviously.
And this is part of the problem too, is like, it's funny because she's all complaining about like the social construction of race, and yet she buys into the entire thing, like the white-black dichotomy. Because I've seen a couple studies, and there really needs to be a lot more studies on this. If you look at successful white people in this country, I can guarantee you that you're going to see like certain pockets of the country create a lot more successful white people than other white parts of the country. Certain cultural attitudes that specific, groups of white people have are going to produce greater success in the country. And it'd be very helpful if we actually tracked all this stuff out, because then you can see like, oh, look, for some reason in this, city and wherever, people seem to do very well, but in this city, whatever, even though they're both white, they don't seem to be doing very well on the national stage. Why is that? To show you that's not just this stupid, like fucking, it's just white people. Because there's lots of white people that are doing good. There's fucking lots of white people that are not doing good.
Amen. Amen for the white people that are not doing good.
And I think there's something like, I forget, I think Sam Harris was talking about this. There's something like, there's some specific zip code that like has produced a very bizarre, disproportionate number of people that have received like Nobel Prizes in science or something. And so it's just like the whole idea that you're going to be like, oh, well, they're just white. Like, it's so stupidly reductive. And she agrees with that, so I don't know why she keeps fucking playing into it when it suits her argument.
Okay. Because DEI mostly leveled up white women.
Okay. So it would be incorrect if it's, if we're pointing toward this, a majority of race is qualified because of the skin, the base of their skin.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether they're white, black.
Okay,
I mean, race is fake anyway.
Now, I do want to touch on a point that you did mention earlier, that you would argue that, black people have less opportunities in America. I do not agree with that. I have not had,
First of all, you're a light-skinned woman.
And so are you.
Yes.
And you're doing great for yourself.
Yes, and so colorism really does serve us. It does serve.
Why do you think that?
God. It's so terrible. There's always, I hate it. There's always something, right? It's like, oh, well, I did well and I'm black. Yeah, but you're light black. So it's different. It's different.
She's why do you think very attractive, which is like,
well, that's probably the biggest benefit, sir.
You'd probably much rather be a very attractive black person than a very ugly white person, right?
I would wager that attractive privilege is probably the strongest privilege.
It is definitely the strongest
American society. Yeah.
You'll pick race second right after you pick attractiveness.
Right.
Give me the 10 body. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What race
I'll
is
take
it?
the 10 on any race. Doesn't matter before
Exactly.
you take the UGO on your selected race. Yeah.
I don't care. Just give me any 10. Any 10 that's available over there, I'll take it.
So why do you think that? Do you think it's just based off the color of our skin, or do you think it's based off of the reputation that black people make for themselves?
What reputation are black people making for themselves?
What would you argue? Because I mean, when I look at
who makes the reputation for black people?
Let's look at music, for example.
We already had this conversation with somebody else.
Well, we're gonna have it again. Most of the people that
get dunked on.
The people that
are we?
Most of the people.
I'm going to shut it down right now and let you know that the reality is that when you come to black music, for you to say most of the people, you've already lost the argument.
Am I right?
There is no most of the people with black people because you haven't heard of all of black music.
Dude, look at this. If only she'd give white people the same privilege.
I love that. You can't say most of the people because you haven't heard every song in existence that a black person has made. You can't make a generalization about the type of music, which first of all, it's even stupider because I think it's like most people in general probably listen to that kind of music.
Rap
It's not just
music,
black people. Yeah. So
rap music's pretty popular.
Yep.
No, most of the music that is, let's say, maybe exalted or shown by the media, right?
And who controls those systems?
It defiles black Americans.
Who controls those
systems? Who's putting it out there? We are. We're the ones
actually,
the
distribution systems that are putting them out there are owned by white people.
Who listens to them? Because I can bet you, most of my friends, my black friends that are not conservative, they listen to that music that defiles their bodies. That talks about black on black crime and that it's a good thing.
But if we don't acknowledge that they are not in the same way okay, pursuing white voices talking about the same thing, even though they are. We simply like to start at the branches of a tree and not at the root. We have to understand that the media is king. Okay, media is king,
and media does not favor conservatism. I can tell you that right now. I mean, look at the protests right now in Los Angeles.
Depending on who is in office, media does favor them.
I mean, we have Trump in office right now, and media is not favoring Trump at all.
Media is absolutely not favoring Trump in certain spaces because Trump is also not favoring that particular type of media. But it depends on the day, and we have to.
Okay.
They believe in manufacturing consent.
Everything's manufactured consent. There's no personal responsibility.
Yeah. It is excuse culture.
Yes.
Cited was that there was a display that speaks about race not as a biological thing, but as something that has just been created as a social construct. And he stated that that is an incorrect expression of race, that race is biological.
But it is biological. Like, let's look at our phenotypical traits, the nose differences, the hair texture. It's a biological thing.
Oh, baby.
Sure, there's a social.
Why is she so offended by that?
Well, she's so condescending about it.
Oh, don't admit that. Oh my God, why are you doing this?
Oh, my sweetie baby.
Oh,
honey.
no.
I think she's a crush on this guy because at one point she's like, oh, I think you're going to like flip and become very left wing in the future because you're smart.
Oh, really?
That's just my.
She's the one that said, I'm your mom, though. Is what kind of, she's doing like some
maybe that's what she's
incest
into.
Going.
I mean, hey, man. Hey, baby, you want me to be your mommy?
You remind me of my son's best friend, who I sleep with regularly.
There you go. There you go. It's what's her name situation.
But there's biological differences that exist.
You're very convicted in your lack of information around these things. Race and ethnicity are two different things, okay? Ethnicity is where you're from. Race is literally something that was created to put people into categories of caste, to put people into categories of oppression. Race is not something that you are. Race is something that was bestowed and put.
Look at the, she's doing some high level extreme hand pecking, okay?
Something that was created to put people into categories of caste, to put people into categories of oppression. Race is not something that you are. Race is something that was bestowed and put upon you.
That's racism, not race. Race is simply the aggregation.
Race is literally something that was created and put upon you. And I want you to listen to me as somebody who has studied this, who has a master's in African American Studies from the Institute for Research in African American Studies at Columbia University.
She's measured all the skulls. She knows.
Everything about this interaction is so funny. Oh my God. I have this degree in Black studies, doing the hand peck on every single syllable.
Not only that, she's like an actor. She's not a lawyer or a doctor.
Well, what else are you supposed to do with that degree, Adam? That's a worthless degree to have.
It is totally a worthless degree.
Something that was created and put upon you. And I want you to listen to me as somebody who has studied this, who has a master's in African American Studies from the Institute for Research in African American Studies at Columbia University.
You got to be rich to go to school and get that kind of degree, right?
A master's degree. A master's degree.
You got to have some giant trust fund that you know you're getting when you turn 30.
Wait, hold on.
How do you go into that?
Well, let me see what the school is.
It's literally something that was created and put upon you. And I want you to listen to me as somebody who has studied this, who has a
No, let's not hear it against it.
No, I want to hear the school. I was going to Google it.
Master's in African American Studies from the Institute for Research in African American Studies.
The Institute for Research in African American Studies. That sounds like an internet school. That sounds like some mail order diploma to me.
Well, she said what? I think she said Columbia, didn't she?
Columbia University.
Oh, Columbia University. Oh, look, we got a reaction. Oh my God,
that's the proper reaction. I like that lady. That's a proper reaction to this. God, that's insane. Why would you just waste your time? That's a huge waste of time.
Look at this guy in the background. It looks like he's holding up the boom mic. If you were holding a boom mic over your head all day, don't you think you'd be in better shape?
I think he's doing a camera because there's like a tripod there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, totally.
Usually you see the boom guy's you got to have the strong arms to fucking hold.
Yeah, you're right. I should have looked for I should have looked for the tripod.
Right.
Obviously, that's a tripod beer gut right there.
Yes.
I want you to understand very clearly that race is not something that is biological. There is literally
look at us. Look at the differences.
There is many differences that are equated to our
It's so stupid. Obviously, melanin is nature's sunblock. So people evolved to be darker because they were in tropical climates.
Well, okay. I understand what she's. I fucking hate when people on the left bring this up, or even the alt left usually. They say race isn't real because you say it's the average person, and you instantly take your credibility
You
and throw
flush
it in the
down
trash
the toilet.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid because people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I can see with my eyeballs what they're trying to say, and this is very obnoxious. This is what the alt left does. The alt left socialists, they always want to redefine words and terms in order to win arguments with language games. Okay. The argument they're trying to say is race is not a useful category, which, okay, you can make that argument. That's a totally fine, totally fair argument to make. That's what colorblind American Western democracy is based around. Race is not a useful category. But instead of just saying that, they dishonestly try to say, well, it doesn't exist. It's not a real category. It's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? It is real. We can group people based on skin tone. You can say that's not useful, but you can do it, and it's based on a physical property.
Yeah.
So I asked ChatGPT how much it would cost to get a master's degree at the Institute for Research in African American Studies at Columbia University.
Mm-hmm.
It says, while it doesn't list a specific tuition rate uniquely for African American studies, it does provide a clear breakdown for all other master's programs. Now, obviously, she's older. She's in her 40s, so this is for 2025. I don't know how much it cost when she did it, but now to get that degree, it would cost an estimated amount of $113,000 per year.
Per year? Holy shit, $500,000 for this fucking garbage?
It says full-time residents, according to ChatGPT, for 2025, full-time residence unit costs $36,000 per semester. Extended residence costs $13,000 per semester. Part-time half-resident unit costs $19,000 per semester. Quarter resident unit costs $11,000. So assuming you had a full-time per semester, yeah, it'd be about $1,100,000 a year.
So it looks like someone is feeling guilty that they're from an extremely wealthy family and they need some oppression points.
Now, well, okay, so wait, hold on. To be fair, though, it does say that that's just like what the price is. If you don't, like, usually people don't pay the full sticker price because they get grants and all sorts of other
They get
shit.
a discount.
They get discounts. So it says
when they
discount. You get the white supremacy discount. It says according to Columbia's own statistics, the average graduate tuition for all programs. So when they did the average in 2024, it was $57,000 a year, which is still a lot, but less than the $1,100,000. Crazy. Could you imagine spending $50,000 to $1,100,000 a year on a degree that's fucking pointless?
No, of course not. I have an art degree.
Yeah, exactly. You can. You know exactly what it's like. Yes.
Well, look, I went to a state school and it was nowhere near those obscene levels of, yeah.
Right.
I didn't go to an Ivy League or an expensive school. Yeah.
Can I please finish? You earlier said that BLM is worried about police, but when Daniel Penny choked out the man that we all know was causing violence on that subway train,
he was not causing violence.
He was threatening people.
Causing disruption is not causing violence.
He was threatening people.
Causing disruption is not causing violence.
And the people there helped him also, and we know that we helped them.
I don't know what that has to do with BLM. Random people on a train is not Black Lives Matter.
BLM showed up for that. They did.
Showed up for what?
God, I fucking hate this. She's so brainwashed. She's so brainwashed. I can't believe she's defending the guy on the train.
Disruption is violence.
That is what the problem is right there.
Yeah.
She's going to defend criminals.
Well, I guess the threat of violence isn't violence, right? I'm just disrupting. So I can just threaten to violence you all day and that's fine.
Yeah.
So of course, these people
that's what they did to the slaves?
Well,
okay.
That's I mean, all these people, they complain constantly about getting threats in the social media and emails and all this other shit. It's like, well, I guess that's just disruption, and it's not, not actual violence. How is it possible you could say getting a bunch of angry messages on the internet is violence, but a guy, running around, going up to people's faces, talking about committing violence to them in person is not violence?
Yeah. Aggressive panhandling.
That's some very aggressive I mean, I don't think he was asking for anything. He was just crazy.
No, I think he was aggressive panhandling.
Was he asking people for money? I thought he was just saying crazy shit.
He said he didn't care if he was going to die. He needed to get some food.
Oh, okay.
Give me some money.
I guess that is some aggressive.
Get your fucking wallets out.
Right.
Get your wallets out. This isn't a mugging. This is you being generous.
Yes, right.
That shit happens all the time in New York. It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Showed up threatening white people, saying that they're going to go get white people. Now they
BLM
did.
protested.
BLM New York.
BLM protest. Where did you get that from? You see, your sources are not. You're not able to cite your sources. Please go sit down.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It's not the truth. It's not the truth. It's not the. Nothing you say is actually the truth. Nothing. You're not even American. You're not even a Black American. As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that Black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from Black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So,
it's funny because I've heard a lot of people, it doesn't come up in this conversation, but I've heard a lot of people when asked about the whole reparations thing, if they're in favor of it, and you say, well, should Black Americans who, were not the descendants of slaves, should they get reparations? They'll still say yes, because they'll say, well, the attitude towards Blacks affects all Black people and is cultivated to affect all Black people, blah, 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 right? So all those people should still get some sort of reparations or something. But then if that person disagrees, it's like, oh, well, you're not even American. You're the child of immigrants. So shut the fuck up. Even though she herself, it's so funny. She herself
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
And this comes up at another point in the conversation. She herself is half, she has her mother was an immigrant. I forget where she says from. Her mother was an immigrant. Her father was American. But guess what? Her father didn't raise her. She was raised entirely by her mother.
The immigrant?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, then isn't what you're saying apply to you? Like, okay, so you have the blood of your African-American father, but he didn't raise you. So what does it have anything to do with anything?
Her Black father abandoned her?
Yes.
So on the nose.
Well, it's crazy. I'll play the clip. It's just interesting the way that that is framed.
When I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of Black Americans.
Look, there you go. Immigrants, go home. Get out of here, immigrants. Shut your fucking mouth. Look at this. She wants to build the wall, okay, to keep the Black immigrants out because they're undermining the experiences of Black Americans.
Good for her.
Okay, here's the clip I was talking about.
And they don't. Everybody doesn't have the same impediments. So, for instance, I grew up with a single parent, not because...
Me too.
I grew up with a single parent, not because my father was some deadbeat that didn't have... My father has a MD from Harvard. My father has an MBA from Tufts.
My dad was a firefighter, so working class, conservative.
He just didn't want to be a parent. So when we talk about this whole...
Of course, it's interesting because it seems like the guy was raised by his father. That's the implication. And that his mother was the one that wasn't there. But it's so weird because she's like, well, he's not a deadbeat. He has a degree from Harvard. What? You can be a deadbeat and be an educated deadbeat. What the has nothing to do with it. Being a deadbeat means you're not there for your child for whatever reason.
You're not in your child's life. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Right. Yeah. It doesn't. You could be a rich deadbeat dad.
There are plenty of them.
Dad.
There are lots of them. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So very weird. The whole thing's weird. But okay.
All right, nice.
That was it for clips.
Well, she's insane and insufferable.
Right.
I'm glad that I think society is moving back towards just laughing at these people. I think they've kind of lost a lot of their cultural power, which I think is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are seeing this woke nonsense more as lolcow behavior on the internet than some behavior that they should emulate in their college classes.
I agree.
Do you?
No.
I do think we have Donald Trump to thank for that. Donald Trump has done an amazing job of knocking woke back several pegs.
I hope so. I mean, that's the one of the few things he's doing that I support, is I am glad the effort to try to remove some of the woke shit from classes and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, and to bring it down in popularity.
Now it'll depend what's being replaced with. I know there was some, I don't know if it was true. There was some rumor that they were going to like try to replace PBS with PragerU, which would be fucking insane, but I'm hoping that doesn't pan out.
I have a really good friend of mine that has this same kind of attitude. Whenever I would talk to him about different things I was contemplating doing, different projects, different jobs, different fields I wanted to go into, different job opportunities, or just anything positive, he would always come back with a ready-made reason why that was a terrible idea and that I should just stop immediately from doing anything productive. And so much of this philosophy is really the same thing. It's interesting because all of his takes were really more society was structured against you because of elitism. There were people more powerful than you that would be standing in the way of any project that you wanted to engage in, that would stifle whatever you wanted to work on and make your project ultimately fruitless. Her angle is that it's all racists and white people that want to do the same thing. So I think this is a common attitude in some people, and it's good for them because it gives them an excuse not to do anything. It gives them an excuse when they think, oh, I should do something. I should be motivated. I should accomplish something. There are all these ready-made excuses why they shouldn't pursue anything. And it's just, it's a coping mechanism. I think.
Of course. That's how the human brain works. It's like, let me find all the rationalizations for what I want to be true.
Yeah. All the juicy rationalizations for why I am not Halle Berry. I am not a international Hollywood celebrity, even though that is my project, right?
It's not my fault.
Yeah. That's not my fault. It's obviously white supremacy. It's all the white people's fault who all, for some reason, love Halle Berry and not me. Yeah.
Sitch has RDS brain rot. What is RDS? Robert Kennedy? What is the R?
Who does?
I do, apparently.
Who said that?
I don't know, some random chatter.
I saw somebody said ContraPoints did a 3-hour stream on me too. What the? It's so
Counterpoints
weird.
or ContraPoints?
I don't know. What's the difference?
You said ContraPoints. The trans YouTuber ContraPoints.
What's the difference?
Counterpoint. You mean Connor did recently?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Why not? It's in the super chats. I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna read it.
I will read it. I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay, let's start. The darn Kiddith for 29 months. Thank you so much. Says, let it be known I was the top fan 8 minutes before go live time. It was fun while it lasted. A team and S class should hung it out. Also, Gardic phone. Hey, yeah, listen, I'm down. Just let me know, Kiddith. Just send me a DM. I'm down.
You're down for what?
For the Gardic phone.
Wasting time with Gardic phone.
I know. Listen, talking to your friends and playing games is not wasting time. Okay, it's being social.
Okay, if you say so.
Oh, look at this guy. Gora Sarah for 40 months. Thanks so much. His age-old question: when does American life begin? Some will say it's 2 years in the country legally, some 10 years, 15, 20. I think it starts at citizenship. When does American life, what does that mean? American life? Like, when do you consider yourself American? Is that the question?
2 years in the country legally, huh? 10 years. I mean, they're deporting people who've been in the country for
like 50 years.
Yeah, for 15 years.
Yeah. 50, I said, but yes.
Oh, the one guy was here for 15 years.
Yes.
I just remember because there were so many people in the comments who were completely cruel about the whole situation.
It is sad.
Compared him to a bank robber.
It is very sad, yeah. That people are so...
And a murderer.
And it's funny. I think it's, and some people are not going to like to hear this, I think it's the flip side of this entire conversation we've been having here. It's people blaming other people for their problems. It's saying, instead of saying it's white people, are saying, oh, it's the immigrants. They've impacted, they're making my life bad.
Mm-hmm.
It feels it's the same energy. It's like, get your shit together.
Well, I mean, if there's a bunch of immigrants that are homeless hanging out around your home and stuff like that, then
yeah, but the guy you're talking about was not homeless.
situation.
The guy you were talking about was a welder. He was making like $90,000 a year or something welding.
Yeah.
So, and providing for a family.
Yeah, and he bought a home too. That's got to chap a lot of people because they're like, I can't afford a home now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it feels like it's a lot of jealousy. So
you could be right.
Because obviously, yeah, if you have a bunch of
people,
and it doesn't even matter to me. Fine. It doesn't even matter if they're immigrants. Like if you have a bunch of homeless people or poor people who are, either doing crime or they're just like, living in tents on your streets and shit, like clean all that, get rid of all that shit. Who cares if they're fucking immigrants or not? Get those people out of there. Clean that shit up.
I mean, but how?
Well, if they're immigrants, you deport them. If they're not immigrants, here's what. Okay, I don't know why maybe this has been tried to be done. Here's my idea. Besides we had the drug, the live stream drug prison, right? Or not prison, the live stream drug fight club thing. Here's like a real idea. A lot of people who are living on the streets don't want to live in homeless facilities for whatever reason, right?
Because they want to do drugs.
Why doesn't, here we go. Here's the idea. This is a big brain idea. The government, okay, the local government, just buy a bunch of land, all right? Just a bunch of fucking empty land. And they say, if you're homeless and you have a little fucking tent, you live off in this like fenced, walled off. You can, go in when you want and leave when you want. You can live in this little fucking fenced off big field. Like, isn't it better? Because that's what happens. That was you saw the pictures of DC, all people living in the homeless tents, like in the park. Why just not have that, but somewhere people don't see it? Because that's what bothers people.
And you're going to make a grocery store build out there
somewhere.
So you want them to be, so they don't drive, right?
Yes.
You want them to be 20 minutes from the grocery store?
Those people aren't going to the fucking grocery store at it with what money?
They go and panhandle in front of the grocery store and buy whatever they're going to eat for the day. Like, how are they going to eat? That's the problem.
You say, listen, you live in this little.
You put vending machines.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying put this in the middle of fucking bumfuck nowhere. Okay, you could put. It's got to be
in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
It's
so
got to be somewhere.
Me.
It's got to be somewhere close in the city. Okay, that people can fucking walk to. Number one, number two, you can provide those people fucking food, and if they want to fucking cause problems and annoy people, then you say, well, fuck you. Then you're gonna go to prison for panhandling.
Yeah.
People don't like this.
A lot of them are ending up in prison.
I know they are. How is it callous? How is it callous to say, hey, instead of living in a fucking field in a park, you're going to live in a fucking field in a safe government facility where you don't have to worry about getting fucking mugged or sexually assaulted, which happens to fucking homeless people all the time. How is what I'm saying callous? I'm literally saying give the people the freedom to live in their fucking tent if they want to.
As long as it's far away.
Yeah, I just want, that's what people want. They just want it. It doesn't have to be far away. They just don't want to fucking see it.
And
people
sustenance.
People want to, like, fuck you. Okay. I'm not talking to you, Adam, but just fuck you, general person out there. I'm not even talking to chatter, but just the general person. Fuck you. The fact that we have public parks and public spaces that are supposed to be for the citizen to have use of. to walk around in, to play in, to have the fucking use of. And fuck the people who think I get to fucking live here and ruin it for every other fucking citizen in the city. And just because their situation is shittier than our situation, people do this fucking insane calculation like, well, their situation is shittier than my situation, not using the park, so therefore I have to fucking acquiesce in them. No, fuck that person. Because if you want to do the fucking calculation, yeah, they're stopping a lot more people from using the space because their fucking selfish ass is plopping their fucking garbage ass there and being a fucking drain on society. Fuck those people. And that's what I'm saying. Give them a fucking, if they want to live in a fucking tent, you give them some fucking government land. They could do that and not fucking bother people. But fuck those people. They're infringing on everyone's right to use the fucking space. And fuck the people that bend over backwards to protect these people and allow them to dirty up our fucking society and our cities. There's your fucking rant for the day.
Fucking man. There's this business on the other side of town that I drive past, and whenever I drive past it, there's always this dirty fucking bum that sleeps out in front of the business. And I think, what a fucking pain in the ass. Can you imagine? You spend thousands and thousands of dollars to build this business up, and you got a dirty bum basically sleeping right inside your doorway all the fucking time.
Right.
What can be done about that? It's so weird because he's there all the time. And I just think, is the business owner a bleeding heart that just is like, oh yeah, I let him sleep here? Because that might be the case. I mean, this is Southern California. There's a bunch of weirdos out here.
Where I live, where me and Sam live, there is a homeless guy who lives on the corner, right next to our building. Okay. Now, I don't care. He doesn't bother anyone. I mean, it seems like he's crazy because he's always talking to himself, but he's never bothered anyone. People walk by him all the time. He goes somewhere else when it rains. We always wonder where the fuck he goes when it rains because he's not there. But it's like, the problem is just like, okay, if you're just like one random person who's just there and it's not blocking, traffic or whatever. I mean, it's still like not great. But the problem is like, it's not just like, if it's one person, you're like, okay, fine, whatever. But it's not. It's like, there's like fucking so many, when it gets to like, there's so many fucking people. And that's the problem. You have like the fucking give a mouse a cookie situation spawns. You allow one person and then all of a sudden, like so many people start to show up again and again and again and again. And then it's like a fucking horror show.
Yeah, it's totally getting out of hand. I think also of that, there was a video that went viral of a guy in a similar situation who had a business, and it was in San Francisco, and they had a homeless person that was always out in front of their place, and they got the hose out and they were hosing out the front of the building, and they just decided, here, let me hose this homeless person off too.
Right.
And the internet just got all up in a roar over this. Oh, how cruel. You gave him the fire hose. Look at this. And I'm just thinking, I mean, what the fuck are you going to do? These people have zero empathy for the guy who's trying to run a business, trying to make a living. And all the empathy in the world for the loser who won't get a fucking job and get off the streets.
Right.
What's going on there?
Yes.
Why does that person have all the empathy in the world, and the person actually struggling to make a living is just the person that gets up early in the morning, gets up every day, does the grind, tries to do the right thing? People have no empathy for it all. They're like, you're the sucker.
Exactly.
Suck it up. Let this degenerate litter your doorstep.
Yes. Like,
It's
I think
him.
the reason that guy is even, no one's done it is because he's like, technically, it's like there's an undeveloped property that he's like next to, even though it's like next to where we live. But they're developing it. And I wouldn't be surprised that whenever they fucking build whatever the fuck they're building, that they're going to get that guy out of there. Because, yeah, no one wants that like on their property. They're trying to sell like apartments to people and like, oh, here's the homeless guy that lives on the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, someone just needs to say, "Hey, let me give you a ride. Hey, I'm going down to the bar. You want a drink?"
The problem is like, that's what I'm saying. I'm empathetic enough to be like,
and you drive to San Diego.
If there are people that are perpetually homeless because they have mental problems or whatever, or drug problems, stick those people in facilities so they can get help. And if they can't get help, you stick them in facilities so at least they'll be safe and off the streets. Yeah, like this is what's insane to me is the idea that like, oh, it's more empathetic to let crazy people and drug addicts live in tents on the street. Like, how is that the empathetic fucking take? How does that make any fucking sense?
Yeah. Well, didn't Reagan defund all the mental institutions?
Supposedly, yeah, something in California. He did something that
It
got a lot of people on the street.
Was it just in California?
I think I don't know if it was in the entire country.
President. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was when he was governor of California, but
because they did a lot of downsizing government, and
right.
I think the mental institutions got the hit, and the prisons took up the slack. So that's why there's a lot of mentally ill people in prison now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a shitty situation. And it's just, no one wants to do anything about it. But I can imagine me going to a Los Angeles City Council meeting and saying, hey, what's up with all these homeless people in front of people's businesses and homes and stuff? Is there anything we can do about that? Maybe bus them off to Mexico? And everyone just looking at me like, oh my God. Oh my God, you insensitive, cruel bastard.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? They're members of the community too. Just because they shit on your front porch doesn't mean they're not people.
Right.
Oh,
so
God.
This is what ChatGPT said about the Reagan thing.
Okay, good.
It said when Reagan was governor, California was the middle of deinstitutionalization. Reagan signed the Latman-Petrus Short Act, which ended indefinite involuntary commitment of people with mental illnesses and made it much harder to hospitalize someone against their will. So that's probably what they're talking about in terms of him being governor.
People probably ruined it because they got their ex-wife incarcerated or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is what always happens because there's a lot of horror stories. I mean, there's a lot of fucking movies about this. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and shit. There are lots of horror stories in earlier time periods in America where people were wrongly institutionalized. Even people were rightly institutionalized. It was a fucking insane, horrific place to be because what constituted medical treatment was like shock therapy, lobotomies, and fuck up crazy shit like that. So people went too far in the other direction in the 60s. It says funding for community treatment was limited, so many ended up homeless or in jails. Then when Reagan was president on the federal level, he signed the 1981 Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. The law reduced federal funding for mental health and converted categorical mental health grants into block grants for states. States now have discretion over spending, and many cut back or diverted funds elsewhere. Between 1981 and 1985, federal mental health funding dropped by about 30%. So there you go.
And the mentally ill people increased by 50%.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Probably just from population growth. There's probably 2 to 3% mentally ill people just naturally, right?
Oh, yeah. The Oceanist for $5 says they should try to get Coleman Hughes on one of these. Also, what did you guys think of yesterday's talks? Yeah, so the talks were mostly uneventful, which is a good thing. I assume you're talking about the Zelensky talks.
Talks, yeah, and the European leaders. Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, they had two. If you didn't see it, Zelensky talked to Trump one-on-one.
Zelensky wore a suit. He looked fucking badass.
It was in the Oval Office again.
He said, thank you. Thank you.
He did say thank you. JD Vance kept his fucking mouth shut. That's true too.
Yeah. JD Vance's leash was very tight, which was good.
I'm kind of disappointed. There was a joke between Vance and Zelensky that happened before the cameras went on, which some of the streams caught like the tail end of, but you couldn't really understand what the context was.
Right. He probably showed him the meme, the fat face meme. He was like, this is my favorite. What do you think?
I sent you a Zero Fox's post we should watch because it's pretty funny. But so that was the first, and it was pretty uneventful between Trump and Zelensky. Nothing happened except for, I don't know who it was. I think it was the Fox News guy but I could be mistaken. But I think it was the Fox News guy, and he asked such a fucking disgusting question of Zelensky. I was like, holy shit.
This was the people dying question.
Yeah, he's like, are you going to keep sending Ukrainians to die? And I'm like, this fucking privileged, rich piece of shit who's living in America, who's never had to make decisions, these life or death decisions ever, is, asking this fucking insane question in the most incendiary way possible to a president who knows people that have died, probably has friends and family members that have died, and does have to order people to die in this horrible fucking war situation, in this fucking pissing ass and this disgust. Oh God, it was so disgusting. But Zelensky's a better man than me. He kept his cool. He just answered the question and moved on. So fuck that guy though. That guy's a piece of shit. I think he should be thrown into a dumpster forever.
Yeah, Zelensky should get props for not immediately laying into him for that.
Yes, 100%. Which is what you have to do.
I mean, Russia's sending drones and missiles and all kinds of shit, killing people in fucking Ukraine.
Right. Yeah.
So
you're going to keep sending people to die instead of just bending over backwards and getting murdered by Putin and allowing all your people to be subjugated to him? It's like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
God. Slap that fucking bitch in the face.
How does that question even make sense when there are missiles and drones hitting apartment buildings in Ukraine? How does that make any sense?
It doesn't make it so fucking stupid.
Are you going to keep retaliating against your attackers? Shouldn't you run and hide?
Mm-hmm. God. It was the Fox News guy.
My mama said, if the bully attacks you, give him your lunch money.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you do it? Why do you keep fighting back?
It was Peter Doocy. I think Peter Doocy should get slapped in the face.
Was it Peter Doocy?
It was Peter Doocy. I think Peter Doocy should just be slapped into the face repeatedly until he starts crying and thrown into a fucking dumpster and should be fired for Fox News.
Vulcan eyebrows guy?
No, that's someone different.
Steve Doocy?
I don't remember.
How many
that
Doocies?
Is there another Doocy?
I thought Peter Doocy.
Steve Doocy is the Fox News host, but it's a different guy.
It was Peter Doocy.
Yeah.
Peter Douchey.
Peter Douchey. There you go. Peter Douchey. What a fucking
it just writes itself.
What a Peter douche. Peter fucking Douchey. God, what a piece of shit. It was disgusting. It was degenerate.
This isn't a Hello Darkness, My Old Friend, is it? Because that's going to get us a copyright strike. Sure looks like it.
There's no music.
Oh, there isn't?
There's no music, no.
Oh, okay.
I think you're talking about Brian Kilmeade. That's the guy with the eyebrows, wasn't it?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different guy.
The very logical eyebrows.
Brian Kilmeade is just kind of a goofy guy. Guy seems much nicer than Peter Douchey. But then, okay, so besides that, nothing really eventful. And then they had the meeting with the European leaders. Nothing really eventful happened either, which I guess is good. They're trying to pull Trump in the right direction. It is weird that I was like, you're listening to the European leaders talk, and I'm thinking it is weird that they all have to talk about how thankful they are, how much they love Donald Trump.
How Trump is doing such an amazing job, and how this country was falling apart, and now it's the hottest country in the world.
How does Trump perceive this? Does he? Because I perceive it's so obvious that these people are just bullshitting you and sucking up to you, which to me, if I'm Trump, I'm like, okay, these people think I'm so weak and pathetic. I need to have a bunch of people suck my own farts in the most obviously transparent way. But I guess he doesn't see it that way.
He loves it.
I guess he loves it, which is
he loves
weird.
all the brown nosing.
It's so weird.
He's like, oh my God, it's just like I'm on The Apprentice again. Only these aren't nobodies. These are the heads of states.
Right.
With their noses way up my butt.
I mean, I guess it is to some extent. You say, okay, well, even if he understands that they're bullshitting, it's still a power move to be like, oh, I'm so powerful that all these heads of states have to lie to suck up to me. I mean, maybe that's how you would perceive it, but.
Well, they are doing a spectacular job of making everyone think Donald Trump is a genius.
No one
believes it.
I don't think there's a single soul on this planet
yourself.
that's not already a huge MAGA fan that would see these sorts of like compliments, it doesn't understand what's happening here. It's so transparent.
Yeah, but
they're not even trying to hide it. It's so blatant.
The people who are the giant MAGA fans, oh God, they fucking love this.
Yes.
It's just everything that they believe is being vindicated right now, being confirmed.
Being so confirmed. The president is so brittle that he needs all these people to suck up to him 24/7.
Look at that's just the TDS talking, Sitch.
Okay.
You can't. Of course, Donald Trump is strong as can be. What are you talking?
Well, it's either if it's not brittle, you say he's so easily manipulated that they feel like they can manipulate him by just brown nosing.
Ultimately, is it gonna work? I mean, it
might work. They think it's gonna work. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah. Look, if it works, hats off to Donald Trump. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize. It's so weird because I keep thinking, wow, the Nobel Peace Prize really is effective here because Donald Trump is doing backflips to get that thing, man. He so wants that thing.
Right.
But so much of it is him just, he's doing the same thing he did with the real estate deals. He's trying to talk it into existence. I don't know that because he keeps saying, okay, Putin and Zelensky are going to have a talk next. That's the next thing. But I don't think that's scheduled or either of parties have agreed to that. Well, Zelensky probably has agreed to that, but I don't know that Putin's agreed to it yet.
Yeah.
And if he says it enough times, if he says it enough times, I think he believes that this will put pressure on Putin to actually do the meeting because everyone's talking about it. It seems like it's going to happen. Everybody wants to see it. Everyone believes it's going to happen. So that'll be some kind of social pressure. But I know sometimes people want me to do things that I don't want to do. And I often don't tell them, hey, I don't really want to do that. I just think, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. And I just like go on my merry way. I keep it to myself, but I know in my heart of hearts, I'm not going to do that. Right. And I wonder if there's a streak of that in Putin where Putin is like, oh yeah, he can keep saying that, but I'm not going to fucking do that. I'm not meeting with Zelensky.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm not having a meeting. Yeah. The meeting with Zelensky.
Yeah.
That'll be great. So I keep thinking, is that meeting really going to happen? When is that meeting supposed to happen again, Sitch?
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
Because they want
an unscheduled, undisclosed time, huh?
Yes. Unless, I mean, we don't know the specifics, unless Russia has made some very surprising concession on security. I don't envision that this is going to lead to any. I mean, how could it? Russia's asking for Donetsk and Luhansk region without giving a security guarantee. That's not going to fly. Obviously, there needs to be some security. Now, if they are willing to give some security guarantee, if Russia says, listen, Ukraine could have a security defense alliance with both Europe and America. So basically saying Ukraine can join NATO, except it's not NATO. It's definitely not NATO. It's just something that's completely exactly like NATO, but it's not NATO. But it only applies to Ukraine.
I know that's
right?
I love that move.
Right.
This is a security guarantee by a bunch of random European countries that all just happen to be in NATO.
And America. Yeah. Which I think if you're talking about security guarantees, that's the most likely outcome for a security guarantee.
Right.
But if Russia does offer that, then we're talking. Then maybe there will be some movement. If they're not talking about that, then there's not going to be anything. So because we'll have to wait and see what that looks like.
I really want them to get a deal. I don't want people to look at my pessimism and think I'm against a deal. I want a peace deal more than anything. If Donald Trump can make it happen,
wonderful.
Yeah, I'm gonna sing Donald Trump's praises. I'm gonna say Donald Trump was a guy that earned the Nobel Peace Prize. They just gave it to Barack Obama as a form of reparations, but Donald Trump actually earned that fucking Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
But I'm just, oh God. It's so, look, in this, you got to give Donald Trump some amount of credit, because if he's really just trying to talk this thing into existence, that's a pretty big risk. I mean, that's a giant risk, right?
Well, it's interesting, because that's what Bolton said. He said, and he used to, obviously he worked for Trump in the first term. He says that that's what Trump tries to do with everything, is he just has this idea of something and then he tries to talk it into existence by generating buzz around it. And it's funny because, and people say, okay, well, Bolton doesn't like Trump, which is true. But then it's funny because the number one Trump defender, Scott Adams, also says that that's what Trump does, is that he just tries to talk everything into existence. Now, Scott believes that your intentions create reality, so maybe he means it from a slightly different framework than Bolton does. But I agree with you. I think it's 100% what Trump does. He gets an idea, he tries to talk into existence by generating buzz around it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, I think it can work with certain people, obviously. If
yes, it can.
You can think, oh my God, everyone in the world is expecting me to do this meeting with Zelensky. I better do it, right? I don't want to disappoint everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does not care at all. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the meme. Zero Fox made this. Zero Fox, it says, JD watching diplomacy happen from the cock chair.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So 1 minute and 4 seconds. Here we go. Play.
Ukraine will be happy if you
both
participate.
Want me there, I will be there. Yeah,
yeah, thank you. And I think this is very important. Yeah, so security guarantees, bringing kids back, and all our people, not only warriors, first of all warriors, and all the civilians, journalists, a lot of people in prison. So we need them back, and guarantees which will work for the years. We spoke about it, and I showed to President a lot of details.
So for the, oh damn. So for those of you who are just
on the battlefield,
listening,
on the map, thank you so much.
we're just
Thank you for the map, by
zooming
the
in
way.
on
It was great.
JD Vance.
I'm thinking how to take it back.
We'll
as
get
he's,
you.
as
I
at a
think
very
that
far distance
we
from the
had
action.
constructive, specific meeting.
And he's doing the
I'm
head
very
tilt, like when you're
thankful
trying to like look at someone else's conversation.
all the leaders
you
who
have
are
your
here,
like
and you help
your head
a lot,
tilted a little back, your
and,
chin up in the air.
So
You're like,
we're happy with that.
Well, and he is like very squinting, like trying to,
yes,
like
yes.
very disgruntled that he's so far from the action.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny.
That
Do you
he
think
himself cannot be there.
was this intentional? Was this Trump saying this is what you get for your involvement in the last meeting? You get the cuck chair while the big boys talk,
For
or is it
screwing
just a
up.
coincidence? Yeah.
Well, he didn't. That's the thing. He didn't really even get a chair. They're like, just go stand in the corner. Well, the chairs are for the diplomats, okay?
Right.
You become president, you get a chair, okay? But right now, you just go lean against the wall.
Yeah. What if the camera like panned around and he wasn't even sitting? He was doing like the fake sitting in a chair that doesn't exist. Like he's just squatting. He's just squatting in the corner, like. He's doing like the Slav squat in the corner. He's got his head up. He's like, "What are they saying over there? I'm involved. I'm the vice president. I'm important."
He is looking around like, why the fuck didn't they get me a chair? Where's my fucking chair?
Why would? Oh God, this got to be awful. Trump's like, "All right, here's the table. Vance, you sit over there." I'd be like, "Oh no, like, can I just not sit in frame somewhere?" It's like, no. You sit right there. Everyone can see you.
He does.
Like, can I sit behind the camera? I see all the other people behind. No. You sit there.
He does this little like for a microsecond smile, like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. It's all right.
Oh,
he is looking around like, are people looking at me? Do people see me over here? I'm the fucking vice president. Do they know that? I look like the wait staff.
You should have had Vance like come with the waters and like pour people water and stuff instead.
Oh man, the little smile. I paused it on the little smile. The little smile is, oh yeah, it'll be fine. I look terrible, but it'll be fine. What a sad situation.
That's pretty funny. Well, thank you, Zero Fox, for capturing this moment.
Yeah, I didn't see this, so it's good. Glad he pointed it out. Did you say thank you?
Did you say thank you?
Zelensky looks good in that suit, man. Whoever asked him that, it was Ducey again, asked him the suit question last time. That retard.
Was it Ducey?
Yeah, it was the same guy.
Hmm.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. It was like the first question.
Because he had a joke with the guy about the suit where he was like,
I wore a suit
I'm wearing
now.
a different. You're wearing the same suit. So. Libertarian Sasquatch, thanks so much for $2. Says anything but personal accountability. True.
What is it about that? I guess people are going to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Society's competitive. Every vocation in society is competitive. So you're always going to get people who try and lose.
Right.
But I guess you're going to get a lot of people who don't try because they're too afraid of losing, right?
Of course.
So they don't even try at all. They're like, oh, I'm going to lose anyway, so I might as well not try. I might as well just blame society for everything and say, oh my God, it's not my fault. Society fucked me. So in any situation where you're going to have losers, there's going to be a ready-made apparatus for excuses for why they lost. And a lot of societies revolves around coming up with those excuses.
True.
Yeah.
I was on
What's
chat
that show that Pisco and all those guys do?
Right.
That's where they brainstorm the excuses for being such losers.
The guy that asked him about the suit was MTG's boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
It's Brian Glenn. I think he's Sky News or something. Where is he from?
Sky News? That's Australia, right?
No, he's not Sky News. I don't know what it is. But.
Why do I see Sky News in my feed all the time? I'm like, I'm not Australian. What the fuck?
Real America's Voice? What the fuck even is that? I haven't even heard of this. What is that? How does this thing I've never even heard of get like the first question asked in all these like Trump press conferences?
Because they're a bunch of suck ups.
Okay.
They give the good fellatio and Trump likes it.
That is true.
Welcome.
The Good White. Exactly. The Good White for $10. Thank you so much. Says, I love how these black conservatives' arguments boil down to if we act more responsibly, we'll have better outcomes. And her only response is, that's impossible. Total crab bucket mentality. True.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
True.
Yeah.
Boba Peck for $2 says, what's wrong with the Peck maneuver? There you go.
Of course, Boba Peck would be in favor of it.
Yes, exactly. Whenever someone does it, I just think that they're like, their hand becomes an ostrich. It's just like trying to peck you. Just looks very silly. It's Steve Bannon's outlet? Oh, is it? Interesting. He's been trying to worm his way back into Trump's inner circle after getting kicked out for leaking like crazy. I guess he's been somewhat successful. JV, thanks so much for 3 months of Discipline Equals Freedom, says the Bible has rules on how to interact with slaves in slavery. There's nothing about it being allowed or acceptable. Well, I guess you would say...
That's good.
Well, the argument would be if it doesn't say... the Bible should, theoretically, morally say slavery is an unacceptable thing, right? As opposed to kind of just being like, well, slavery is the way it is, but at least, you got to treat them somewhat nice, right? Which I think is what the Bible does.
I mean, wasn't Jesus a slave?
No.
I mean, he died for our sins.
Jesus was not a slave, no. He was a carpenter.
Didn't he wasn't he forced to die for our sins?
He was. But I think being murdered isn't being a slave, right?
Okay.
And he was living under the Roman Empire's colonialist expansion of taking over Israel or Judea.
It sounds pretty slavey to me, but...
Okay. William Vance, thanks so much for 38 months of Discipline Equals Freedom, says, what is sad about this conversation is that the conservatives try to point that hood culture is bad, but they say black culture because it's dominant. Both hick and hood culture are bad, not race. Yeah, maybe that's the problem, because even if you said hood culture, I mean, they would always say like, oh, that's a dog whistle, right? But you're right. It shouldn't. Maybe that'd be a little bit better than saying black culture. That's why I try to say like lower income culture, because you want to try to be as precise as possible.
Thomas Sowell calls it redneck culture, and it's hood culture and redneck culture are exactly the same.
Yes. Yes. Jason Mulgreen for 3 months says white supremacy means capitalism. Whiteness is capitalism. There you go.
So sad.
JV for $5 says my response to bad life equals allowed to be bad is cool motive, still murder. True. Alexander for 16 months says counterpoints just made a 3-hour stream on you. Wow. Look at that.
I know. It's so strange.
Impressive.
What is like, what do you do when that happens? Obviously, he's still very upset about the live stream that we did 2 years ago. I mean, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
What, when you yelled at counterpoints?
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it this year? I mean, it's been like 6 months or something, right? Like it was beginning of the year, wasn't it?
It was before the election. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. I guess you're right. I guess that was.
When was the election? In November?
No, that was with Pisco. I don't fucking remember when you.
No, it was with counterpoints.
Right.
Counterpoints came on after. Counterpoints went to Destiny's live stream and said that we were audience captured. Do you remember any of this?
Maybe. Look, there you
Sitch,
go.
Are you still audience captured? I want to know.
I'm 100%
Tell
audience
me.
captured.
Tell me for sure.
Scrubbed to a random point in the video, and I see he's got AKA Batosai's chat up, and it says all Adam told Connor to do was watch more of their content before making strong claims. There you go. Look at that.
Is AKA Patosai was in his comment section on one of these videos he made that I actually watched and commented on, and AKA Patosai was in there backing me up. Just, of course. It was great. I was like, yeah, look, obviously he listens to our streams. He fucking knows what's going on. Connor's just out to lunch. But look, I mean, I've tried to bury the hatchet with Connor, so just because, I don't know.
Well, you don't know if it was a bad, maybe he said good things about you. Okay.
He did. Oh, really?
When you assume, you make an ass of you and Ming. Okay. So you got to be nice to Ming.
You think Connor did a 3-hour live stream talking about how much he likes me?
No, he was covering Pisco did his cry fest about you. So he's covering that.
Oh,
and Connor's
he?
not a Pisco fan either, so.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so maybe he'll take your side. Look at that.
Okay.
Sammy G says Sitch was literally captured by an audience member. That's true.
So that is true. Captured. Well, that's one for Connor right there. Connor, it turns out Connor was correct. At least 50% of the show is audience captured.
Majin says, I'm at the Sitch homeless rant. Sounds like Sitch and Sammy were having a picnic and got accosted. No, we've never been accosted by homeless people. And yes, it is too hot to have a picnic in Florida anyway. Well, what's the best way to make friends with someone is to have joint enemies, okay? You gotta, maybe Pisco can be you and Connor's squid.
Oh, yeah.
The gap.
I'm not.
The Oceanist, thank you so. What?
Well, I was asking what the right course of action is just to ignore it or just respond to it.
Yes. I don't know. Someone who watched, I saw Zero Fox was in there. Zero Fox, did you listen to it? What happened?
Yeah, does it warrant a response or is it just.
Does it warrant a response?
Sometimes I don't really know how to respond.
Who
was that guy who was crapping all over our comic and said that we launched our campaign and didn't even come up with a story? Like, where does this come from? Oh my God. We wrote the story for weeks and weeks and
Dane,
weeks.
Right? That was Dane that said that? Or I don't know if that's Dane or the other one.
We recorded
the guys we argued about She-Hulk with, yeah.
Yeah. We recorded some of the meetings. I mean, we for hours and hours and hours did the story together.
Right.
Wrote it together, did multiple drafts back and forth. I mean, come on. It's just. And the idea of launching well, I guess maybe a lot of people do it. Launch a comic campaign when they don't even really have a story. They're just like.
What's the thing? He took the stereotype because there are a lot of people who do have comics that are just
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing. So he didn't actually read it, but oh, look at this. Zero fucks things didn't help us. I was listening at the gym, so I didn't give it the full attention.
Well, good.
Look
Let's
at this
hope
guy.
everyone did.
Look at this guy. No help. Alexander, for 16 months. I read that one. The Oceanist, thanks so much for joining the Fuel Seekers. Aspiring Whale Psychiatrist, thanks so much for the 23 months. Says, she reminds me of an admin at my high school, PhD in African Studies, talk like Beyonce and Austin Powers 3, and always wearing some kind of animal print. There you go.
Yeah, that's their look. They want to let you know that they're available.
You guys should cover Dr. Umar Johnson's scammery. Who is that? Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't know this guy. The Good White for $10. Thank you. Says race is real, but it's generally misunderstood because it's a spectrum. The spectrum runs from West Eurasia to East Eurasia to Africa. Facial structures is more of a tell than skin color. Jason Mulgreen for $10 says replace whiteness with capitalism and blackness with worker and whiteness with bourgeoisie. She's not arguing race in the usual sense, but that class was coded into race. That is true. That is what she's doing.
Yeah.
Well,
they go to the skin darkness thing.
Dr. Umar is a black nationalist. Oh, everyone's laughing at me. They don't. This is a guy. I'm out of the loop. Okay, I'm a boomer. I'm out of the loop. I don't know who this guy is. Look him up. He's hilarious. Okay, we'll do that after the stream. Will I Survive for $10 says, are you guys going to be on the EFAP anniversary? Feels like it's been years since the last time you were on EFAP. Maybe.
I don't remember the last time we were on EFAP.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think you were on an additional time after me, after my last appearance.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Theon R. Kale for $20. Thank you. Says, I worked at a liquor store in the DC area. There was a homeless camp behind the plaza who would steal the trash from us, get drunk, and we'd be blamed. Cops would clear it. The camp would be back bigger a week later. There you go. That's the problem. You can't, nothing happens. People call the police. They don't do anything about it. Or they clear it up temporarily. So, yeah. Righteous Indifference for $2 says, Zelensky wore a suit. Was it a body double? There you go.
Look, there were some people who were convinced by the body double video. So
I don't know if you saw Lions on Map did a video and he was criticizing the body double conversation.
Was he really? I saw he did a video, but I didn't have time to watch it. So I'll have to check it out now.
It was pretty funny.
Sitch and I just thought it would be fun to do the body double thing.
I think it's it's funny. I think it's a funny thing to talk about.
But. It is, yeah.
Yeah. Some people take it very seriously.
I mean, I'm convinced by it, but a lot of people aren't. Actually, I don't know that I'm completely convinced. I think there's some compelling evidence in favor and some compelling evidence against. So I'm going to have to say that I'm uncertain that it was really Putin that was there. I'm not 100% sure it could have been a body double. Sitch is 1,000% sure, obviously, because Sitch thinks in black and whites.
I'm 99% sure it was not a body double. Okay.
Only 1%? Really?
Yeah.
I give it like 20%.
Okay. Salty Trisket for $5 says, the other reminder that adjusted for inflation, average rent in 1960 would have only been $700 in 2025 money. Is that true? I feel like that can't possibly be true. How do you feel about that?
Average rent in 1960 would have been only $700 in 2025. What do you mean?
Is that true? That's insane if that's true.
I remember when I moved to New Orleans, but this was in the 90s. My rent was like $300 for a 3-bedroom apartment. So that was the 90s. That was 30 years after 1960. So I'm thinking 700 seems pricey.
So maybe that is true. Wow. I mean, that's true. That explains so much of why people are struggling and everything that's wrong with our society at the moment in terms of economics.
Look up
Gotta build more
look up the
houses.
minimum wage though in 1960. I'm pretty sure people made like $2 an hour. People now
you would
make
have to
$20 an hour.
That's true. You couldn't
So
just
the
do the
inflation
number.
is, yeah.
Right. You'd have to do inflation plus purchasing power
Yes,
to get the accurate. That's a good point, to get the accurate comparison. So
sure, with today's purchasing power, oh my God, 700 is a fucking deal.
yeah, obviously, yeah.
I'll take it. I'll buy 2. I'll buy 3.
Paul Watson for 2 hours says redneck culture isn't the same as black culture.
We'll bring it up with Thomas Sowell. I wonder if Paul's read any Thomas Sowell. Doubtful, huh?
Paul, have you read any Thomas Sowell?
Paul probably hates Thomas Sowell because he's black.
No,
I'm just
wow,
kidding.
Paul.
I'm only kidding. I shouldn't have said that.
How dare you, Paul?
I shouldn't have said that. That was mean.
Suggest such a thing, Adam.
I know, but look, he took it there. He's already saying, no, that analogy is bad.
Arithmus for $4. Thank you. Says Sitch, you're confusing conservatives with the libertarian wing of the Republican Party. Conservatives are not ideologically married to small government, but they went with the libertarian position because they perceived that the small government position was beneficial when they did not feel that they had broad popular support. It was a defensive posture. Now conservatives feel they have popular support and go on offensive. I agree with that 100%. And I always said that. Exactly what you said. I always said that. You can even go back. I'm sure I've said that many times in streams in the past. The problem is when I would say that, people on the right would get super triggered and they say, no, Sitch. These are people that are they believe in these principles. I'm like, you're full of shit. They don't. And the second they gain power, those principles, those quote principles are going to go out the fucking window. So I agree with you 100%. It's just obnoxious to me, the hypocrisy of people that were lumping themselves in with the libertarian positions because it suited them at the moment. Then now turn around hypocritically don't give a fuck about any of those things whatsoever. So I find that degenerate and disgusting. But you're correct.
I want to bring up, because last time it seemed like Paul was very anti-gay in the last stream. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Seemed like he was against gay marriage.
Oh, he was against gay marriage.
He elaborated in the comments, though, that he's not against gay marriage. He just doesn't like using the word marriage, but he's totally in favor of gay people being in civil unions and stuff like that.
Right.
So he wanted everyone to know that he's totally not anti-gay at all.
Paul said, what the fuck in chat when you called them racist?
The gay people. Paul is 100% in favor of the gay people being able to get civil unioned.
Right.
So they can shack up and get the tax breaks and adopt and do all those fun things, visitations at the hospital, all the fun things that us married people do. Well, actually, it's not fun visiting your spouse in the hospital. If you ever had to do that, that's not a fun thing to do. But it's probably even worse if they're like, go away. Who are you? You're just a stranger. You can't visit.
I've heard a lot of people made that argument. I don't know why it matters. Like,
why matters?
It's exactly the same institution. You just give it a different name. Like, why? What's the point?
I think it's important to at least point out that they don't mind gay people shacking up and stuff.
Yeah, I see. Yes.
It's not,
He's not racist, and he doesn't hate the gays. He loves the gays, and he loves all races.
There are people who are like, the gays should not even be able to like be together.
Right.
It should be illegal for them to have any sort of relationship whatsoever. Point. Okay. So look, Paul is not at that extreme, which is good. I think we should, that's a good thing. Yeah. Anyway,
Mr. JR says an illegal immigrant is not allowed to be here. And if an illegal immigrant has been living, they're earning $90,000 a year illegally for the past 15 years, that affects a legal American who hasn't had the job for the last 15 years.
That is the argument in the comments that that someone made. Yeah. Which, there's a little bit of merit to that. I just, that's a tough one. Sitch, what's the right answer there?
Well, my argument to that is, I think the benefit we have in America is basically brain draining and competency draining the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have someone who comes to this country even if they came here legally. They've been living here for 15 years. They have a family. They're a productive member of society. Yeah, you should give them citizenship. That's what you want in America.
Well, there's probably one socialist couch potato who doesn't have a job and never will have a job.
Can we trade?
Yeah, why don't we just deport that?
Can we trade the lazy socialists for the hardworking Central
What do
South
you guys
Americans?
think? Let's make
I'm
a
in favor
deal
of that.
here.
Yeah.
We let the hardworking guy who is a bit in the wrong. I mean, I'll admit it.
Of course.
And we deport the socialist who's more in the wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just sapping off society, being a general nuisance, going on Jubilee and advocating for nonsense.
And also, like the 90K welder, like, yeah, I understand you're saying, like, they would theoretically, if they, poofed out of existence, they didn't exist, then maybe the job would have gone to someone who was here legally. I understand the argument, but it doesn't really fit in the argument that they were driving the wages down. Because I don't think 90K is driving the wages down for welders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe another well, look, you can always make the argument that the job should go to an American. Unless, of course, it was all of the welders in America had jobs and there was no out of work welders.
Well, that's part of the issue too. And I don't know the answer to this. And everyone gives a biased take on this because the people that are more pro-immigration say, they claim if you look at the stats, there's a lot of jobs that need to be filled that are not being filled, whether it's by low skill or high skill labor. So they're saying that they're not really taking people's jobs. And then the counter argument is they say, no. The people that are against it say, no. I have stats that say that that's not true. And
yeah, everyone's got their own.
It's one of those,
stats.
like, I haven't spent the hours and hours and hours required to really dig through all these to try to come to some sort of truth claim about what is actually going on in these various industries.
Sitch, I want you to actively apply for jobs all next week. Okay. I want you to find out. And then how about this? Jobs really exist.
I'll apply for all these jobs. In half my applications, I'll say I'm a citizen. Half I'll pretend I'm not a citizen.
Right.
And I'll give myself like a Hispanic name just to see if I get more.
Yeah. Jose.
Applications.
And say no speak English.
My name is Jose, not American. My last name. I know.
Just write illegal.
Weird. Yeah, Jose illegal. Yes. How do you say illegal in Spanish?
Yeah.
That's my name. So. Arithmetic for $4 says, also the amount of time someone has been here illegally has no bearing on whether or not they should be deported. We have statutes of limitations on the crimes committed a long time because we accept that you may have done something stupid a long time ago, but you may have turned your life around since being here. Being here legally is not just a single transgression for a long time. It's a continuous infraction committed every day. You're never, ever, 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 ever going to reach. I'm never going to agree with you on this. I think it's needlessly cruel to say a person who, yes, they came here legally because their living conditions were horrible and they participated in our society properly. They lived the American dream. They didn't do fucking crimes. They were a productive citizen. And to me, I think it's needlessly cruel and somewhat despicable, but obviously you don't see it that way, to say, well, because that person came to the country illegally, all the good that they've done for our society and participated in the American dream and promoted this idea of American culture, all that goes in the trash can. That person can fuck off and die. And, we get to destroy their family and send them back and blah, 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 blah. We have no level of, I don't know, any feeling for these people. And I feel like it stems from this idea that there's this idea like, oh, all these people that are here legally are just destroying the country for everyone. And that's not a logical, rational position. It's a position based on an intuition that's not really borne out. There are some people here illegally that are destroying the country. Lots of people here illegally that are not doing that.
What if the guy has a good job and a family and supports his wife and kids, but he's also a philanderer and he's having sex with all the wives in the neighborhood? He's
then deport him.
Like
that's fine. Yeah, get rid of
10 other guys on the block.
Deport them for that.
Fucking the 100%. Shit out of their wives.
Deport.
Well, they're hard at work at their American jobs.
Deport them.
Then what? Then
obviously you get rid of that person.
But he's been here for 15 years, okay? He has a wife and kids. He has a family to support.
Okay. When I say like they're not doing crimes or anything wrong, I'm including moral turpitude in that phraseology.
I knew I
moral
could get
moral turpitude is counts, right?
I knew I could get him. I knew I could get him. So let's just imagine this guy's doing that, just not telling anyone, okay?
No.
He's gone.
No, okay. Also, I don't, as I said, I don't know, you really have to show me some proof that shows that there's all these out of work Americans who just can't get jobs because all the illegal immigrants are taking their jobs from them.
I know nothing.
I know there's a lot of people
about the
that
job
have
market.
taken a lot of people have had their jobs taken because of H-1B visa scams, which is a completely different situation. Those people are here legally. And a lot of people have been having difficulty getting jobs because of woke reasons, because they're like, oh, we need to make sure not to hire white people.
Right.
But those aren't the types of jobs they're like, oh, well, I can't get a job because all the illegals took my job.
Look, so. I tried to get a job as a roofer and they told me, nah, we need more diversity.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, how much? Well, look, your whole crew is Mexican.
There you go. Look, the one white guy is very diverse.
Wouldn't it be a little diversity if I was on the team?
Yeah.
Well, how's your Spanish?
We're going to bring the cost of housing down, Adam, by getting rid of all the labor. Okay.
Not very good. My Spanish, not so good. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Right. Cerebral Friction for Jar says, Sitch mentioned human beings wired to be racist. Why should we ignore this wiring? Isn't this the wiring that helped our ancestors survive? Who will survive now? Those who ignore evolution or those who follow it?
That's right, Sitch. Give in to your racist tendencies.
Well, the answer to the question is you have to always remember our evolution designed us, the human animal, to exist as a hunter-gatherer caveman. That's what our evolution wired us, because we existed in that function for like a million years almost, hundreds of thousands of years.
Why are we so good at video games?
Because the video games are built to emulate the things that we were good at. That's why we're good at like throwing.
Oh, you're right.
That's why you have like distances. That's why you see
it's
more
all
men
hunting and gathering.
It is. That's
all
why
in World of Warcraft, all you do is hunt and gather.
Yeah, like I mean, the video game is actually a perfect example of this. Look at the games on average, not always, but on average, men are going to play first-person shooters, fighting games, hunting games.
Women are going to play like that. Tending the babies.
Yeah, well, yeah. What do women play? They play Animal Crossing. They play,
take care of my little babies.
They play the collect the berries, game, collect the knickknacks game. Build your house game. They play all that shit, right?
They do. Oh my god, the house game. Holy shit, the Sims. So I mean, they're like, oh my god, I got to make my house perfect.
Exactly.
A Sim man might come over.
Right. So it's just straight on evolution. So yeah, no. So to answer the question is why we should ignore this. It's because your evolution, those tendencies, we don't live like that anymore. We had those evolutionary thoughts because we didn't evolve to be racist. Because back in those days, humans didn't travel or traverse the distances to even meet someone of a different race. What is even possible for you to be like interacting with people of different races? We evolved to be tribal.
Yeah.
We evolved to be highly tribal. So we would say, oh, well, this is our community, or 50 cavemen or whatever. And over the valley, 20 miles away, that's like the enemy tribe. And we evolved to be afraid of them because, maybe those tribe people, or maybe you'd want to go kill them and steal their women or vice versa, right? And so we had this evolutionary tendency to be very skeptical and afraid of tribes. So racism just piggybacks. So first of all, we didn't evolve to be racist. We evolved to be tribal. And the racism piggybacks on that. And the reason why you want to get, away from that is because that's what makes America or any country powerful, is saying, hey, instead of not being able to cooperate with the tribe of people that lives down the road from us, if we can cooperate with them, if we can create a society or culture that incentivizes us to both work together, to share resources, to trade resources, and to work together, we become stronger, because the great human strength is cooperation with other people. No one is Superman. No one rules alone. No one is building the giant skyscrapers alone. They have to work and manage a large group of people. This is why the most valuable skill right now in the human job market is your ability to manage people effectively. That's the most valuable skill. That's what being a CEO, that's what all these things are. How do you manage people effectively? And you have to create if you want to be a productive society, if you want to be a powerful, rich, powerful country that can provide welfare for its citizens, you have to be able to get over this sort of barbarian level tribal nature we have and work and collaborate with people and cooperate with people. Otherwise, you just hide in your cave, you hide in your property with a gun. You say, you know, if you want to go if you want to go live in the middle of a forest with a gun and not interact with people, like, you know, you can do that if you want in America. But most people don't want that. They want to live with other people. They want to live in a community, a large
Why
community.
is that?
So I want to have
to
things.
To be human is to belong.
It is.
To become a part of something bigger than yourself. That
You want to have a
to
computer.
be human.
You want to have a society that could produce and buy a computer, that you can go to the store and buy a computer. You can't do that in your evolved tribal caveman society. What are you laughing at?
I did a poll. Do you like Connor? And I'm very surprised with the results.
Okay. Dollar for Joe says, are you going to watch P.F. Young and J.J. McCullen's interview of Michael Tracy? Also, Run Away to Fight Another Day was one of the themes of The Last Jedi, unfortunately. I watched that interview. I did watch
Oh, you
that
did?
interview. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was primarily about Epstein. It's really funny because Michael Tracy gets super triggered at P.F. Young. And to be fair to Michael Tracy, even though I don't really like him, P.F. Young was sort of giving him the runaround. Like Michael Tracy would lay out this whole argument about why he thinks the Epstein stuff is like not real. Like he doesn't think the conspiracy element is real. And he kind of lay out this whole argument about that. And then P.F. Young would like not address any of that. And you just like bring up like a vibe. It's Michael Tracy.
That's hilarious.
Super fucking triggering. It was pretty funny. I was laughing really hard. So that did happen. My issue with Michael Tracy, especially in that conversation, is, and I remember this from some of the research I did in Epstein, he is partially correct that some of the most salacious claims about Epstein being this sort of, blackmailing sex trafficker, like a guy who would, try to blackmail rich and powerful people and having sex with all these like young people and then filming it and blackmailing, blah, 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 blah. A lot of that stuff is conjecture, is mostly conjecture or mostly relies on witness testimony from people who seem somewhat suspect in what they're saying. That is true. I still think that there's a high possibility or probability that happened, but I acknowledge that there's not a lot of good evidence for it. My problem with Michael Tracy is that he doesn't just say that. If he said that, but then said, yes, but Epstein was also a total piece of shit who was trafficking women for his own purposes. And, we 100% know that he was trafficking women in the 2008 case in Florida, where he was doing this pyramid scheme where he's getting all these high school girls that he was grooming for sex. And there were definitely a bunch of other women who seemed very credible, who were all testifying that they were being groomed for sex by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. If he said that, then I would be more inclined to trust more of his take, but he doesn't. He like,
why
kind of
doesn't he?
Like he sort of like acknowledges it, but also tries to diminish that or downplay that. And
what's the purpose? Why?
I don't know. Because to me, when he says when he gets in that territory, I'm like, okay, this person I don't trust. Like when you get in that territory, that I don't trust, because that's all that shit was like 100% or like 99% confirmed,
verified,
very confirmed.
Exactly.
And then the question that I would have liked them to have asked Tracy, which they didn't, was, okay, if there isn't a conspiracy going on with Epstein, some level of conspiracy going on with Epstein, why the fuck did he get this insanely sweetheart deal when he was caught red-handed being a fucking pedo? Like something had to be going on there. You can't just hand wave that away. So
evidently you can, and Michael Tracy is doing that, hand waving.
He is to an extent. And it was, actually, and I give Young credit, it was very funny. This was a good intuition. He asked him if he thought OJ was innocent.
No, that's hilarious.
It's funny because that's a good, like, a contrarian take. Like, look, we'll just see. That's a good contrarian, like,
and
test the temperature.
What did he say? What did he say?
So he sort of he sort of did a.
He did. Oh my God, he thinks OJ's innocent.
Well, he did a no. He did like a head fake dodge. It was kind of. It really, to me, it shows like a little bit of his character, and not in a positive light. Because he's like, well, I think that the government's case against OJ. He didn't want to answer the question. All he said was, I think the government's case against OJ was bad, and thus it made sense for the jury to say he was not guilty. And you're like, okay, well, hold on a second. You could say you think he's guilty, but that the state fucked up the case. Like, you can say those words in that order. It's weird that you would like don't want to say that you think he's guilty. Like, that's where I'm like, that's very interesting. Okay. So
fascinating.
It was a funny conversation, but I mean, I don't think we'll review it here or anything.
Well, we just did. That was
There's
great.
your review.
Your summary of it was
right.
Very entertaining.
Didn't Michael Tracy claim he was like attacked by Maxine Waters or something? There was something about that, right? There was some crazy. Oh, okay, never mind. No, he said that she shoved him, which I think did happen, but I could have swore maybe I'm misremembering. I thought he was like really upplaying the assaults, and then people saw the video and it was really like nothing. But maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe that's wishful thinking on my end.
Oh, so I changed the poll. I mixed it up. People were complaining that they weren't gay, so they couldn't possibly like Connor.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed it to, is Connor cool? And now people are complaining about that. Oh, he lives in Florida. How can he be cool? People are saying, oh yeah, I like him, but he's not cool.
Right.
Complaining about the poll is always fun for people.
Arithmus for $2 says, come to America illegally and don't get caught for long enough, then you become a citizen. Well, first of all, Arithmus, I mean, don't strawman my position. I didn't say that. What do you think that encourages? You guys understand incentives in every other scenario, but not this one. So, I mean, we said this in the past. I'll admit I didn't.
And don't say you guys. Jesus,
yeah.
I'm the one that's always saying you got to be rude to some people in order to give them the correct incentives.
So, I said in the past, I'll admit I didn't say it here, but I said in the past, if we do have a system where someone's like, okay, you've been in the country for 10 years, you're a productive citizen, you haven't done crimes, you have correct moral turpitude, all right, you haven't done any moral turpitudes, you get to be a citizen. I agree that system of amnesty also relies on saying we're closing down the borders. Because yes, if we just had that system and we didn't close the borders, then you are incentivizing people to come in the country. I have said that in the past. I didn't say it here. So. Saul for $2 says, what do you think about Fire's lawsuit against Marco Rubio? I am unfamiliar with Fire's lawsuit against Marco Rubio. Do you know what that's about?
No. Is
it about the
Marco Rubio?
Is it about the college students that lost their student visa or something? I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it.
Who cares? Let them go.
It is about that, yeah. It's kind of difficult because that Mahmoud Khalil guy, that guy is fucking 100% should be deported. Fuck that guy. I've seen all sorts of crazy fucking takes from that guy recently. I think there's nothing wrong with America deporting the fuck instantly out of people that support terrorism, people that hate America, Hamas supporters, all this other stuff. With the girl who wrote the op-ed, she should, I mean, at least if that's the only thing I've ever seen from her. I've never seen anyone present any other information about anything else she said. That op-ed was fucking milquetoast. 100%. She was wrongly deported. And it does look fucking weird. It does look super fucking weird that Trump and the Trump administration is so deferential to Israel. Is strange. It is bordering on like me thinking there's some weird conspiracy going on here or something. It's like, what the fuck's happening here? This is so weird. Rhythmus for $2 says tribalism is human nature. The idea that we can get rid of it is fanciful as the idea that socialism can get rid of greed. The key is to channel tribalism into productive avenues. So this is another thing I said. The key with tribalism, and this is part of why I think Western democracy works, is you can't really ever get rid of it. You have to expand the in-group. And so I think that's part of why America is so successful, is that we've expanded, except for the racist, we've expanded the in-group to include people that are American, whether they are white or black or Asian or whatever the fuck they are. People that are American, they're American citizens. We say you can be part of the in-group of America. So that's what you have to do. You have to expand the in-group.
But he is right in that channeling it in productive ways is a good thing for society. Obviously, America,
Right.
Everyone's into sports, which is a good way to channel it into productive ways, right? There are also business competition that you can channel it, right? Who you work for is kind of your tribe as well. So there are all kinds of productive ways to channel it. Where in some nations, obviously third world tin pot dictator nations where they don't have fucking organized sports or professional sports or capitalism or any of these places, really the only way that they can get their tribal fix in is to try to kill the fucking tribe next door through some religious jihad, right? That's not good.
Yeah, there's a word for this. It's sublimate.
There you go. That's a perfect word for it. Yes.
Well, no, it is the word.
Yeah.
Describes this concept. It's when you take the instinct and you in your culture puts it into a more acceptable format or activity. And that's what. And you're right. That sports is a good example of that. Unfortunately, one of the negative examples of that is politics. Politics has become too divisive, and it's rooted in the same psychological foundations as tribalism.
It's changed a bit though, because I do remember when I was much younger, it was more in the realm of sports where you could be brutal about, this and that.
Right.
And really there was a kind of a jest that was implied in what you're saying. Nowadays, they're like, people really do think conservatives are Nazis. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. We need to be able to get back to that position where there is sort of an underlying okay, well, at the end of the day, we're all
Americans. Yeah. We all want the country to succeed.
Right.
We're all on the same team. We're all in the same tribe.
And maybe we need a squid. Back in the day, we had Russia and the USSR.
Yeah.
We need a squid to fight again. We need to trigger our tribalism to have some sort of outgroup enemy that we're all united against, which we don't really have at the moment.
China.
I mean, even China, we don't really have.
It's hard when everything you pull out of your garage says made in China on it, right? You're like, are we really at war with these people?
I remember I don't remember, it was a while ago. There was some polling that was like, most Democrats and Republicans, I think when you use poll, they not most, a strong number of, I think, Democrats and Republicans will hate the other side, Democrats and Republicans, more than they hate China or Russia or any other country. And so that's the problem. There's no outgroup for them to project their animus onto.
What would be a good out? How about homeless people? What do you think? I'm just spitballing here, but
the government should make fake aliens do the Watchmen. We'll have a fake alien attack on the moon, and then we'll all unite against it, and there'll be peace in our time. That's how you do it.
Chat's helping me resolve this Connor conflict.
Alexander for 20 Donkey Kong dollars says Connor thinks you two are audience captured. Interesting. Audience captured. Okay. Well,
but look, I
pinned the comments
message.
of any video where I shell over Trump. So
AKA Batosai says, I haven't heard Connor say anything about audience capture in the last few months.
Oh, okay.
So his issue with you isn't about that. So there's conflicting information
reports
here. Yeah, right. Exactly. About the audience capture thing. Yeah, you can't listen to our last two streams and think we're audience captured. I mean, Sunday people were getting so fucking triggered.
I know.
It was and it's so hilarious too, because the next day, obviously I thought Trump was being a giant used car salesman, which, look, to be fair, it may work. Okay. So maybe it's just my personal feel on that aesthetic is incorrect. That aesthetic is actually going to work and get a peace deal, and he's going to win the Nobel Prize. In which case, I'm going to say, great, I was wrong. Okay, it all worked out in the long run. I'm happy. Kumbaya, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the next day, he did the meeting with Zelensky, which obviously on Sunday I was nervous about. I think you were nervous about it as well. But it turned out to go really well, and the European leaders was great. All that stuff went really well. And I listened to some of the news reports, and a lot of the news media was just completely glazing Trump about how fucking amazing this is and how we're definitely going to get peace. I think they might be overselling it. I guess we'll see. So
Zero Fox says, Connor certainly did mention it in that stream. He said he thinks Adam is more audience captured than Sitch. I do remember that.
More audience captured. Okay.
So I did bring it up. So,
well, look, I am, you can tell him I am making an effort to return the shopping cart on a regular basis.
That just proves the audience capture. What do you mean?
So
what do you mean?
So there is some merit to this audience capture.
You bullied Adam into returning the shopping cart
because of you fucks.
Exactly. There you go.
Look, even the other day, I returned a fucking shopping cart that wasn't even mine because it was just close.
Look
it was
at
just
this guy.
Close to me.
Social pressure works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
look at that.
I mean, guilty. I am guilty.
Right. Ace for $5 says, I haven't supercharted for a while for the stream. Been trying poorly to take a political break. Love you guys, and thanks for not being soy. Well,
look,
man. Take a break.
Don't
let it stress you out.
If politics is getting you down,
right?
I think it's time to take a political break. Some people take this stuff way too seriously. I mean, it is serious, obviously, to some extent. We're talking about deporting homeless people and hosing them down in the streets. But
right,
could be worse. We could be in Ukraine right now, where they're actively trying to kill all of us.
True. Careman 502 says counter that it encourages illegal immigration. Yeah, I agree. Which I think I already addressed that. Grocer for $5 says the most humane thing we can do for our hide and seek champions is to travel back in time and to abort. I mean, deport.
Oh wow,
crazy. 0 says, I actually have been told I wouldn't be hired at a well-paying drywall hanging job because I'm white. Look at the racism. Well, there you go. That's crazy.
I mean, I've asked a friend of mine has a construction business, and I've asked him, what would be the likelihood of someone who's white getting a job, and he's just like, how's their Spanish?
Right.
So, I mean, most of the people on the crew can only speak Spanish. So there's that issue.
Well, it's interesting. The Zero continues, which is kind of interesting. Talks about a completely different problem. He says for $10, not only that, but at the time I was making $15 an hour, where the illegals who were equally skilled were making nearly $30 an hour. The businesses would take a large portion of the money that should have gone to tax and healthcare and pay it directly to the illegals. Well, that's interesting because then and that could be a completely different problem, which I would be completely sympathetic to, is that it's not that, we're hiring a bunch of illegals because we want to pay them less.
It's cheaper to hire them under the table.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe even if they pay them more in the hour, it's cheaper because they don't have to pay for healthcare and taxes. Yeah, maybe that's the issue.
How fucking awful is that? That they can pay them $15 an hour more if they just pay them under the table.
That's crazy.
That's so bad. And everyone wants to say, America is the most business-friendly place in the world. What? What?
That's not good.
Oh, God. Look, and it's even crazier because that $15 an hour is what he's getting paid. That's not his take home, because then the government comes in on the other side. It's like, well, let's take your fucking tax, state tax, Social Security tax. Let's get that $15 an hour down to $7.50.
Right.
God. Oh.
Anyways.
Yeah, I guess that's it. All right. What
That's
a great
it.
show. That was a lot of fun, guys. I guess let us know in the
We'll
comments how we deal with
see you-
this little Connor issue. And
who cares? We'll see.
come on.
Well,
Come on, it gives them something to work on, okay? They want to solve the conflict.
You want to like a home.
What's that? Well, look, I'm not going to go to therapy or anything like that. I'm not gonna
No, I'm
do
saying you
anything
want to give them a
gay.
homework assignment, but we'll see you Thursday. I think we're talking about the Alien TV show, right? Or no?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Alien. It's going to be great.
Talking about
It's
the
gonna
Alien
be
TV
amazing.
show.
Have you watched
already-
any of it?
I watched the first episode yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay,
Yes.
good, cool. We'll
There's
talk
only-
about that.
Currently, there's only 2 episodes out, I believe.
Yeah, but one comes out today.
Okay, so there'll be 3 by the time we
Obviously,
talk about
we
it
need
on
to talk
Thursday.
about the new episode.
So we'll talk about the Alien TV show, and then won't be here Sunday, sadly. So keep that in mind.
Sadly,
And then,
what do you mean? I get a day off.
well, sad for the audience. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
it's not all about you. But
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I guess you're right. Damn it. All right. Let's hope we get peace in the Middle East and in Ukraine.
peace in our time. Oh, there's another stream. Let me
What?
refresh here.
I was
Arrhythmus
all
Futura
ready
says, to
go.
add what I said about tribalism, I think racism in America indicates a systemic failure to find a satisfying avenue to direct tribalism into. A rise of racism indicates that something else is fundamentally wrong. Yeah, it's because people, we moved away from the colorblind model to people being able to use their race to gain victim points, to gain status, to gain resources in our society. And when you start doing that, then and I've been saying this for years, if you have non-white people are able to galvanize their racial identity to penalize white people and to gain resources and upper hand against them, then obviously white people are going to say, oh, well, we need to use our racial identity to gain power again. So
Enough about that. Let's talk about this Connor situation. The Ocean says, talk to Connor Lowe. Well, I don't want to talk to Connor. I want you guys to talk to Connor and convince him how cool we both are, so he can stop this Captain Ahab mission he's got against us, right?
Mhm.
We can't be his white whale, okay? You
I think
talk
he's
to
just-
him, you chill him out.
Okay.
Tell him he's got us all wrong.
Well, he's
sing our praises. Don't mention the poll, okay? Where most
There
of
you
you
go.
said that he wasn't cool and you didn't like him, okay?
right.
Don't mention that. Forget about that part.
Okay.
It'll work, Sitch. Come on.
There you go.
It's our new quest.
I like it. Anyways, thank you all for coming. Thank you for all of your incredibly generous donations, and we'll see you all on Thursday.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Have fun.
Why not a black whale, Adam? Yeah.
Have a good time.